Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Insane Studios podcast. This week we are going over H.P. Lovecraft's The Shadow Out of the Time. And
Good
we got
evening, ghouls and girls.
Yeah. Say what's up, everyone.
What's up, everyone?
What
How's
up?
it going?
What up? What
Okay,
up?
so this was my longest story I read yet. It's 50 pages
It's
in
gonna
this
take a while.
book I have. Yeah, it takes a minute. Call of Cthulhu is like half the length. And that was my longest one before this, so I was doubling down. But honestly, I thought the second half read really quickly. And I finished the last 25 pages in like one sitting. I was
Nice.
so into it. I don't know why
Yeah,
it
the
took me a
last
little bit
parts
to
are
get into it.
really
Yeah.
getting in there.
Yeah, I think the
You
the
and me?
beginning is a little bit slow because of the he's trying to set up this he's trying to make us as confused as everybody else, because everybody's wondering, where is this really going, and then the other shoe drops and you see what he's really been going on about.
Yeah, he's in dream states. He needs reality checks. He needs a lot to get through it all.
And he's in denial the whole time.
He
That's
doesn't
Denial.
believe what he's seeing, but at the same time, he kind of believes it. He doesn't know what to do.
Dude, I don't know if this is Lovecraft's intent, but I always give a doubt that that's the case. Like I'll listen to the characters at the beginning of the story for some reason. Like I'll listen to their denials, be like, yeah, it's probably made up, even though I know it's a Lovecraft story and it's all going to be real in the end.
Yep. Let's just refer to the narrator as Peasley because his son's name is listed. It's Wingate Peasley. So I don't. What is the main reader's first name? I don't remember, but at least his last name's gonna be Peasley.
Nathaniel
no.
Wingate Peasley is the first narrator.
Nathaniel Wingate Peasley.
Right, yeah, that's the
Wingate's
that's
Helsing.
the overall narrator. Yeah.
I know his youngest son was named Peasley. Wingate Peasley.
And after his manic episodes, his wife left him, his 8-year-old son, and then another son just kept with him.
I think it's actually the middle son that stayed with him, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. The older one stayed with him, and the other two were just never seen again.
No, it was his youngest. His youngest son is the one that didn't lose faith because he was 8 years old when it happened. And he was 13 when it was over.
Oh, I remember reading that. Yeah.
Yeah, remember it was okay, so let's lay the groundwork, I guess. This guy he enters into a state that lasts for 5 years, and he can't remember any of it.
Yeah, a state in the past. He dreams of the past before humankind. Well, eldritch beings and other races were at war with each other and just writing things down, and megalopolis cities of imaginable length. It's like, I imagine it as like a mega structure, basically, like an endless structure, an endless city of like impossible structures all around from all different materials.
It's going to be hard not to jump ahead, but it's like each one of their cities is like a hybrid city of the previous inhabitants, and then they built upon those.
Yeah. Because they talk about races all the time, like lizard people and starfish people that also at the Mountains of Madness. They also talked about a few times.
And that was what I meant when I said if we read Mountains, it might have been a little easier to grasp some of this stuff, or you might have been like a little
I got some of it.
Yeah. But there's not too much that you need at that point.
No, it's just a few mentions of it that's intertwined with it.
Oh my god, the BF sheep. What's up, Logan? Hi, friend. I just saw this.
The Necronomicon makes a return again, and other books make a comeback. And Innotep. Yeah, never seen him, but whatever.
He's my cousin.
Oh, nice.
He
never watches though.
No, don't tell out who it is. No, this is a totally new viewer. This is because this thing's growing. You see, trust me.
Oh hell yeah.
We don't know who this is. We're not planting people in the chat. Make this thing seem bigger.
The family, huh?
Yeah, I told 2 of my family members about these podcasts. They haven't even
I
listened to
told
them yet.
none. They're not interested in this.
Dude, they're not. You're not gonna. You can't just get people to watch something like this. Like this is a
Yeah.
very
Oh, shit.
specific. Like, yo, we're gonna discuss like heavy Lovecraftian
shit, like-
horror shit. Like,
Who's gonna be into that? I mean, I have one goth in my family, but
did you say you have one goth?
yes.
Yo.
Okay. So
Sorry. Yeah, go on.
we got Nathaniel Wingate Peaslee, the main character, and he is a economics professor at the University of Arkham. And as maybe some of you guys have started to learn, Arkham is a really common reoccurring location in a lot of the Lovecraft stories.
Yeah.
Arkham,
So
Massachusetts.
Oh, okay. It is a real place.
Is it?
Yeah.
I
don't know. I'm asking you. I figured
No.
you know. What the fuck?
It's not a real place.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh my god! But you're not. I'm looking it up.
Arkham
That's
Asylum.
crazy. Yeah, because it made me think of like Arkham for like Batman, and I was like, why is it? Why do I keep hearing that?
I think the word Arkham might just have another meaning, and it kind of like means something ominous or dark or dreary, because obviously Arkham and Batman is like a dark, dreary kind of city. And Arkham, Massachusetts, in these stories, is a place where weird things happen.
Yeah, it seems like
All
it's
the weird
a
shit.
fictional city. At least on Wikipedia, it says it's a fictional city in Lovecraftian verse stuff.
So he's a professor at the Miskatonic University, which is the university in Arkham.
Yeah,
So, yes.
that makes sense. I've never heard of that either.
Yeah, Miskatonic is a reoccurring place in the stories too. Like it's a lot of people work in and out of Miskatonic, the characters throughout the stories, multiple stories.
Yeah, like I think this is kind of like Castle Rock. I think a lot of Stephen King stuff takes place in this area or something like that. I know he also has like recurrent places that kind of exist, on Lovecraft. I think and before Marvel was doing their EU, this was the Lovecraft extended universe, because I see he always name dropping various things that he dropped Nyarlathotep,
He did.
He dropped
Okay, wait, Paul. Hold on, because I really want to break down those 2 pages.
Yeah.
They talk about all those people that he talked to, so I don't want to get too far into that yet.
Oh yeah, well, that's just one person he mentioned, but I noticed
Dude, I think we should just talk about it. It's so not structured at this point. Like,
we're vaguely
went
structured.
from Carson to
I don't even care. Like, who gives a shit if we spoil things? Like, it's not a read through. We're just here to talk about it.
Yeah, hopefully people who have read the stories are our primary listeners, I guess, right?
Yeah,
like
or they're probably
like
they
his
might
family member and someone else, but
yeah, nah. It's probably just people interested in listening to people talk about Lovecraft. I don't know.
Yeah.
One thing I like that how every time he name drops the mad Arab Abdul
God, I fucking love that guy. Every time I see his name, I'm like, yes.
Arab. I don't think he ever shortens the name. It's like, I don't know. In this other show, there's this guy called a pimp named Slickback, and you had to say his name every time. So this is like that. You had to say Mad Arab Abdul every time. He's like Stanley. He had to show up in everyone somewhere. I thought that was great. But but going back to the background of this guy that Emerald was talking about, the background is very academic, so you know that this is not a guy that you're not drinking, you're not doing any kind of drugs. A very grounded person. So
talking about the guy whose mind gets sent back.
It's sent back in times, millions of years back.
Yeah, they're smart people.
Okay, yeah.
It said they usually pick smart, like, people in positions.
Yeah, he was selected
like that too. Yeah, because he knew this dude would probably have access to a bunch of scholarly type materials, perhaps.
Right, and I think there's a couple of reasons. Also, too, because a secondary benefit of kind of housing the mind in the past is that they also get first-hand knowledge from that guy. They kind of grill that guy, person when they get back into the past.
He records everything when he goes back in time, like about where he's living. Yeah.
Dude, and they just
that
in the end of the story, well, while he finds his own writing from millions of years ago in a
That
steel
was cool.
box.
Yeah. Okay, that's when the story really got getting good for me. When he started discussing, like in detail, him talking to all the creatures from different times and places,
Dude, yeah, and that's going to
like
be a fun
conversing with them. Yeah, I was like, holy shit! Like this is getting really interesting.
like
But what
I
I
know a
Right
little bit
after that.
about some of those characters that he spoke to. Like I could get into some of the references. He's referencing other writers' stories and their characters when he talks about
No
all the
way.
absolutely yes. Yeah.
That's pretty
Okay.
interesting.
So
All right, yeah.
he's the great race of Yith. That's who these guys are. These information collectors that are obsessed with knowing everything, and they've got 5,000-year lifespans, and they're 10 feet tall and 10 feet wide at the base.
Yeah. That whole explanation.
Yo, I looked up pictures. Like I just Googled Shadow at a
Yes.
Time monster, basically. Because I wanted to see what people imagine these things looking like.
Oh yeah.
Because I had a slightly like, it was weird. But yeah, they look pretty like crazy looking.
Like Mobius in mind for the monsters, like these impossible shapes and forms.
Yeah. And they communicate by clicking their little lobster claws together and like making sounds and stuff.
Yeah. That reminded me of the dude from Futurama.
Yeah.
Zoidberg.
Zoidberg,
He's like
Speaking
flashing.
of Futurama, the great race of Yith was portrayed in Futurama to the exact design that Lovecraft describes them as, like a homage, like an Easter egg.
What?
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
They're
Interesting.
they're small and they're pink in the show.
Look at
They
that.
always sneak in stuff like that in the backgrounds of the shows, especially in like crowd scenes, I think. Where they could really jam, any kind of weird thing in there that they want to. But yeah, so just to give an overview of the story for anybody that doesn't really know, basically it stars this guy, this professor, and one day, he just falls into a stupor, something like
Yeah,
a coma.
he was like teaching class, and then all of a sudden he's like out of
Mad
it.
ramblings about some world that no one knows about.
Yeah, and they say his like facial expressions change and the way he talks changes.
I
Where it's like
think,
they're like questioning if it's him.
in my mind, I think they literally just swapped bodies with one of the elder beings. Like his mind goes to the elder being, and the elder being goes into him, and then his mad ramblings just begin about all the info that they know about.
Right.
Were you guys able to imagine when he was describing the account of when he woke up with the great race member in his body, where he said the face was contorting and the words were coming out right?
That's he has a really long neck, and he
It
can't
didn't-
look at his own body except
No.
when he really.
When the alien's in his body and he wakes up,
Ow!
Right. So
and the alien doesn't know how to use his body.
so basically, it's like
Oh.
there's some interesting things with that, but we'll to that specifically. Is like this is a mind that has never controlled this body before or anything like this. Imagine you just it's loading the drivers for the body. It's not because they basically kind of have his family basically have to go about teaching him how to use his hands and so on. And we as the reader, we don't know yet what has happened. As far as this guy just had some kind of brain hemorrhage or something, and has what they basically amnesia. At least that is what we're told, right? And so the guy is kind of basically relearning everything. But his wife, I think his wife was always suspicious that something more was wrong, right? Because the guy, the how to describe it is that they notice that he does weird things, like he the way that he talks is described as different and as interesting because he'll talk some new age slang that hasn't even been invented yet, and then he'll say some kind of old time archaic thing,
Okay.
And what that revealed as is that I think because the image of humanity that the great race has is like, snatches of information that they've gotten from different pieces in time. So they might have gotten a piece from 1900
Basically.
and some language from, 2,500 years from now or something. One cool little thing is that I think they mentioned a particular phrase that that he was using that nobody had ever heard. And then years in the future, it was a phrase that took up popularity, in language, like years after.
Yo, fucking Mars,
Yeah.
stop messaging like you're me in the chat. You say things I wouldn't say. It's fucking annoying. I've said it so many times.
What?
Oh, and Logan, no, they don't like wipe your memory. Your mind goes back in time to that to the being's body while he's in your mind in the present. And then after, they go there to learn about that time and place and record it.
Yeah,
and then and then he'll go back. And then you'll get back into your mind in the present while he goes back to his mind in the past. And it's just your memories are like muffled though. Like you don't remember it all. He starts seeing it in the form of his dreams and these brief like memory stints where he's like, is that my memory? Like, where are these dreams coming from?
Yes.
And that's the rabbit hole it leads down. Was like, oh, did this really happen?
Now keep in mind though, they do wipe your memory when you're going forward in time.
When they put you back. When they put you back in your body, they take away as much as they can to hide what's going on.
Yeah, but it's not completely wiped. Otherwise, the story wouldn't exist.
It's left with dreams, and that's it. Like it's an illusion and not reality. So they just mask it as a dream.
I was wondering if their methods wasn't perfect in wiping people's minds, because when he's talking about his memories, he mentions clouds. So like he's because he's not able to see the great race of years in his memories. And then like I think over time, like the cloud is kind of lifted and he's able to see them. So I wonder if that's just him breaking it down, or if that's the imperfection of their methods kind of breaking down and he's able to see, because it's like it's censored. His memory is censored.
It took him like 12 years to get that back.
Yeah, so I guess most people aren't as persistent as him, or maybe since he had totally denied it, he said this is just craziness. But as a psychological experiment, he's writing down everything very carefully.
Dude, I can't believe how he convinced himself that his dreams were based off of what the dude was learning about, like prehistoric times, and he must have learned about that information. So that's why it's in the back of my dream. I'm just like, dude, you are in so much denial. Like he had to have known there were too many coincidences.
He was in denial in the final scene when he's inside the ruins.
Oh yeah, even at the fucking end of he's like, he didn't tell them. He didn't tell them what happened. I was so upset. I didn't.
Yeah. I mean, he lost all evidence. He lost the box. He lost the lantern. He lost everything.
But then he didn't want to go back because he was scared that it might actually be real. Like,
and some beings were after him. Well, in his mind, but there still could have been beings in there because there were still trapdoors open, not left vacant.
What was up with that ending? It just goes to black. I'm just like, this is bullshit.
Well, he jumped from that one ledge, then lost the box, and it just fell in delirium, and just one way or the other, he just stumbled out of there.
You don't think one of the elder ones had something to do with that?
I have a theory about what happened in that moment that he can't remember, where he's running away from the.
From the whistling noise and
the
windy black mass mist thing, whatever these things are.
The flying polyps.
The flying polyps.
That's what they're called.
Dude, I had this imagery of like it's just a shadow, like on the floor, like if there was like a shadow man or something. The shadow man.
I mean, think about it, right?
The Hollow Man was awful.
I think they're very
this point, I don't hold it against him for being afraid of any sound or anything like that, because look at where this guy is. Essentially he's in, the alien crypt, and he's hearing a weird noise, and he's holding a manuscript that he wrote 150 million years ago. I would start at any shadow or anything like that. And you know what? He describes. He uses a phrase, a merciful opiate, and that's probably what him losing the tablet is to him, because if it had existed and he was out there with this in his hand, even if he never found the crypts again, it would just be like a splinter in his mind. At least now he could lie to himself.
Yeah.
No one would believe all that after all that crap.
when he found the book, did you guys think that was the book that he had written 150
Yeah, he
years
said
ago?
himself. It was in his own language. And it was his own text. It was
No,
himself.
no.
Millions
Emerald
back of text,
Emerald
bro.
is obviously talking about when he first finds it in the story because they
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
mention that right away.
Before they tell you, did you guys think
Yeah.
that before the ending? Because like I was like, this has
Oh,
to be
that
what
point
he
you
wrote.
mean? I mean, yeah, I have some notion of that. That I thought, like, yeah, maybe it was himself, then,
Yeah.
and not some other elders being. Because why would he frantic in horror, or it had
Yeah,
to do
'cause he's
something
like-
with the Necronomicon or something
He's
like
like,
that?
if
but
what's
no.
actually in the book was in the book, then it would truly be horrific, etc., etc.
Yeah,
Mm.
I had a feeling. I was not 100% sure, but there were other clues too. Like he knew exactly how to get into that one. Like he picked that
Yeah.
one out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, but what I'm asking is like when the blacks, as Lovecraft described it, that there was like a huge black man that's lying on his arm in a huge crevice. But what god would that be, though?
You're
That's what
talking
I'm-
about the Aborigine legend. Yeah, because whenever he says the blackfellows, that's like the Aboriginals of Australia.
Yeah,
We know. Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's because Lovecraft actually didn't know, or if they just kind of group people
them
together.
all together. Oh,
No, that's
well,
what
yeah,
that's
it
what
was
the
the
Australians
20s,
used to
so-
say, dude. The Australians basically just like referred to them as the blacks. Like that's like how it used to be in Australia. I've heard Australians refer to them that way before.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's copying the way Australians talk when he wrote that.
Mm.
It's interesting to think about it from the perspective of what information does he have at this time? Because I was surprised that at the time when he was writing about his experiences 150 million years ago, he actually mentions dinosaurs and plesiosaurs and all of these things.
Yeah,
So
that was a bad part in that. Yeah.
I thought that was cool, and some people might ask, well, why if this great race of Yes was basically the dominant species at that time, where are all their ruins, and yet we have ruins of the dinosaurs, but we do find one of them, but that was something I was thinking about, if they because they mentioned some kind of an upcoming calamity that happens to them, but I don't think we know exactly what it was, because they mentioned a creeping darkness. They mentioned a few things.
So
Yeah.
a little bit of a timeline. I think that the Great Race was operating in a fairly small setup. They were in one or two cities or something like that, and their whole base of operations was 150 million years ago. We know that. The calamity was the flying polyps that came to Earth 600 million years ago. And they had been inhabiting Earth since that time. And when the Great Race took over the bodies of the creatures that they're currently in, the cone-shaped, tentacled creatures that I posted in the Discord too, they pushed them back out of their cities. So the flying polyps built
into the underground,
right. Yeah,
right?
the flying polyps
Okay.
built towers.
which I also thought that was a
Well,
little weird. Like you force these people underground. How'd you do that?
Yeah.
Seems like a pretty
I like
difficult
that.
task.
And I like that it didn't even kill them. I was wondering, were they able to?
They probably
uh,
weren't able to kill them. They said
were able
they were like formless, I thought.
they had some capacity to do so. They talked about their electromagnetic weapons that could like
Oh,
disrupt
that's
it.
Right.
Yeah, you're
there was
right.
Disrupt
one-
their,
You mentioned that.
So much stuff. I don't even remember that part that clearly. 'Cause
Do you think they
it just gets
felt bad about?
overshadowed with other parts?
Do you think it just gets like they don't want to kill them, but they don't want them to fight back either? So that's what the weapons are for. So they're just like, I guess we'll just hide you then.
They locked them underground.
Why do you think they did that? Besides
It was
just
probably
killing
one of their
them.
only options. I don't know. They probably couldn't wipe them all out completely.
Yeah, I get the feeling
Just
that
like
our
the
weapon is not.
starfish back in at the
They must
mountains
have
of
liked the underground at least a little bit
Yeah,
for
'cause
them
they
to
said
like go down there.
The polyps didn't care about light. They could see, but
Yeah.
they didn't need light to see. It was more like they saw on a different spectrum.
They're gonna go insane down there of boredom.
Well,
Talk about their psychology
Yeah, they
instead
couldn't
of
even-
Wingates.
The flying polyps were the only creatures in the universe that the Great Race couldn't trade minds with, or at least the only beings that they knew of that they couldn't trade minds with. So
Oh shit! I forgot
Yeah.
that detail.
yeah,
I think it's cool. Like there's actually something that's such that's alien even to them, you know.
Yes, that was pretty cool. I agree.
And one thing that it also reminds me that the human, when the human is transferred back in time to the Yes body, the Yes have senses that the humans can't use because,
They
like,
can't
you know,
comprehend.
yeah, which is you know, I talk about drivers. You know, the human just doesn't have the driver for, you know, telepathy or whatever. You know, I thought that was so cool. It's like installing. I don't know. Maybe if you mess around with computers, that's all my analogies from that kind of. When you install an old OS on a new system, there's things it doesn't even know what to do.
Yeah.
You know, what is this? You know, and that's kind of like, you know, the human mind in this in many ways superior body. And I wondered, you know, how is it that these are superior beings and yet humans are kind of the dominant species of Earth now? But yeah, you mentioned the war of the polyps, you know, kind of took them out. And
Well, no, he mentions other dominant races in between the Great Race and humanity.
Yeah,
I think there were at least a
Mountains of
few.
Madness, the lizard people,
Yeah, the furry
other-
men. Do you remember?
furry, yeah, furry, yeah,
The furry man.
yeah.
Okay.
I
If we're
was
gonna,
they
like,
if
have
we're
not
gonna
been
go down,
eradicated,
man.
just to be clear. You know,
I'm opening up the page right now to that shit because this is the one I wanted to talk about.
I think he loves those lists that he makes with weird stuff, and he has them in multiple stories where he just lists off stuff, a whole bunch of weird shit. You know?
You're right. Yeah.
All right, here I want to read a little bit. There was a mind from the planet we know as Venus, which would live incalculable epochs to come, and one from the outer moon of Jupiter, 6 million years in the past. Of the earthly minds, there were some from the winged, star-headed, half-vegetable race of Paleogean Antarctica. And those are the aliens from the Mountains of Madness.
Doesn't he mention that twice? Okay, because that alien's mentioned again later in the story somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah,
from the
that dude's at Mountain. He's at Mountain somewhere.
Yeah. He's referencing the star-headed, half-vegetable race of the Paleogean Antarctica. That's the main alien race in Mountains of Madness.
Cthulhu and all those other races just to keep alive, basically.
And the Great Race went to war with them, and they went to war with the Cthulhu race, and the whole.
Yep.
All right, let's not talk about it anymore then.
What?
Well,
because then we're gonna read that one next. And I was like, damn, I want to find that shit out.
Yeah. Okay. And the furry pre-human Hyperborean worshippers of Thathos Guga. That is from another writer named Clark Ashton Smith, who Lovecraft was friends with. That's one of his characters. And here's the other one. One more. The reptile people of fabled Volusia. That is from Robert E. Howard. That is Robert E. Howard's story, The Shadow Kingdom, about Kull, the exile of Atlantis.
I thought it sounded like something from somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, because Lovecraft has a certain thing, you know, I guess Lovecraftian, you know, and that one
I reread The Shadow Kingdom on account of it. Once I saw that part, I was like, shit, now I got to reread The Shadow Kingdom, which is a pretty short story. It's not that hard.
Dang, you should have said that. We could have talked about it at the end. Yeah. Because I was thinking about something short to do at the end, but it was...
Well, this one is plenty long, you know, even it
is pretty long.
Already.
And even I had trouble, you know, getting through it. Not because I was bored, but it really is.
Yeah.
And
I really only had trouble with like the first quarter. For some reason, it took me a while to really give a shit about this
his life and all those writers and all those other things, and it didn't really get into the main dish of the story. For instance,
the first part's basically like, oh, my life sucks because I went through this amnesia.
My wife left
now
me.
I'm learning.
I went insane for like 12 years. My only son is a doctor but doesn't really believe me. Blah 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 blah.
You know, well, up to you know, modern life guy, you know, and then bam. One thing I thought was cool. I don't know if they get much into it, but they mentioned that how he had a guy when the mind was ready to return. A guy came and helped him, you know, create the machine and set it up.
Yeah, that was trippy. I want to see what this machine looks like.
And actually, what I thought was cool is that they actually called a doctor to come and help the guy. You know, for a mind kidnapping race, you know, beyond all understanding. I thought that they were, you know, responsible in some ways. You know, they actually
something dying in the background or something.
That's my dog.
Kill it.
I'm gonna pull it.
Yo, what kind of dog do you have?
And he's gone, finally.
All right, sorry.
But yeah, I thought that they took a good amount of care of the bodies, because they didn't have to do that. They could have just leave this guy, in a daze with nobody to help him out of it. Because I remember when the doctor came and he actually had to kind of revive him from his stupor. And what was cool was that the guy started back talking exactly where he left off. Because when the human mind was returned to the body in current day, he started back in the middle of his lecture from when he was taken. I thought that was
Yeah, I
cool
thought that
touch.
was crazy.
I thought that when the alien went to his body, it was some kind of escape from his prison from that city in the underground for some reason. And he wanted to know more about the future, what the human race looked like. So he went on his own spree of getting information like the human, like basically that goes back in time to read about their history or what he can get from that anyway.
I
And
think the alien that was in his body, Nathaniel's body, was it was on a mission. It was a legit mission sent by the
yeah. I mean, that was obvious in some capacity. And later on, when he went to Australia to look for all the stones, like all the carvings, all the things with the other professor, like a really old professor that had what did he again? Yeah, he was like in folklore and in other stuff. He was really well known in. And then they
What up, Alihu Nova?
what was it? Oh yeah, he was really interested. He read a letter. He was really interested because he found some stones that had some inscriptions in them, and those were related to the dreams he had. What he wrote in an
Australia.
article for psychologically, and that when then they all went to Australia just to get to the stones, and then they got into the caves. Oh no! Wait! Before that, he went through. He dreamt in the desert. Woke up. He was in all kinds of bruises, and he got to the camp and he told what had happened. I thought later in the story that he was referring to that time that he slept in the desert and was in all kinds of bruises. That there was some kind of paradox there.
Yes. Okay.
Except at the end that he was not talking about the box and he had all kinds of bruises and he went for miles back, so it was not the same because he was by a river, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
The
So
first time that he mentioned that.
after 20 years of dreaming, Nathaniel finally started publishing his dreams and everything like that. And then the Australian miner and his boss got a hold of it, and they said, "Okay, we found the stones that you're talking about." And so the Miskatonic University funded an expedition to Australia, where all of it was going on.
Yeah. Just on a side, I like how free these universities and stuff in Lovecraft world is with their money. They always send in expeditions and all kind of thing, all kind of godforsaken corners of the globe.
It's also just incredibly convenient how
Yeah,
shit works out, and then move the story forward. I'm all about it though, because I was really excited to go to Australia and go on the expedition. Like I was like super, like I remember being like, "Oh shit, what's gonna happen next?" Like I was excited for that.
Yeah. One thing you mentioned paradox, Mars, and I was asking about it in the chat before. There's a line that makes me wonder if Lovecraft was thinking of this. When a captive mind of alien origin was returned to its own body in the future, it was purged by an intricate mechanical hypnosis of all it had learned in the great racist age. This because of certain troublesome consequences inherent in the general carrying forward of knowledge in large quantities. I was wondering was he thinking of paradoxes here, or was he thinking of, numbers, that kind of thing, or that World War II is going to break out or something like that, because it's not quite clear here what he's talking about, but I thought that was an interesting touch. Because, the idea of a time paradox probably isn't that common here, in Lovecraft's time, And another he mentions Albert Einstein. This new guy on the block, Albert Einstein, is now talking about how time is just another dimension.
I also did about that.
Is there discussions about a time paradox in the story?
No,
Not
well,
really.
that
Yeah,
line
I
that I
mean, in the
read.
Discord, we were talking about the time paradox, and now
So
I read
this
the
is not. I'm
storyline.
just confused. This did not happen in the story, right? Because I don't remember them talking about time paradoxes.
Yeah, no. They talked
No,
about Einstein a little bit. They talked about him, and in Discord we talked about time paradoxes. And when I read the
right.
story, they were talking about when he woke up in the desert, was all kinds of bruises and walked for kilometers. I thought like, oh, that's the time paradox. That's what we're talking about. That he mixes things up for some reason. I don't know. I don't know what the time paradox is in here.
Check out this. I'll paste it in the chat here, and you'll see in the.
Mars,
This
he
is
skips
line.
in time in the chapters too.
No,
Like
but check out.
I know that,
Win-
but that part was really
Wingate's
like,
on the boat back home, and then he tells us what happened previously that caused him to leave. So like,
In the temple
yeah,
or whatever.
exactly.
The
Yeah, but-
old
In the fucking
tower.
ruins in the sand.
Yeah.
His whole basic last account, which I was like, I didn't realize how big that place was. He talked about running like hundreds of yards of worth of hallways and rooms. It sounded like I was like, good lord, how
it's
fucking
One
huge is this place?
Yeah,
One cool
huge
thing is
rooms
that
where you couldn't see the ceilings or the walls or in different crevices.
and
30 feet high.
And
he was
hmm,
Yeah,
he was the size of the huge cones the last time he was there, so it's like a totally different scale now. Because
Yeah.
he mentioned he was wondering if he'd even be able to operate the lock and get up on the table and all that sort of thing, because now it's like Toy Story, he's like the size of Woody now when he
yes,
was when he
Toy
was
Story.
He's like almost
You know?
60 years old when he's in there too, dude. By the time that
Oh,
he's in
God.
Australia on the expedition,
Oh yeah, you're
he's an
right. He
older
is
dude.
old.
He is
Oh.
well preserved though. He's using the last of his reserves to do this because he's climbing up and down.
I thought he was
Aliens, like-
as way younger in that. I mean, how can he do that on 60? All of that.
Yeah, I don't know if
Dude, there's
anybody
some
got up there
fit
on chat.
60
There's
years
this
old.
60-year-old guy always-
I know. I've one in
When
my
I'm
family.
60, I'll be able to do that for
Yeah.
sure.
Knock on
you
wood,
are,
knock on
man.
wood, yeah.
Sure.
That's the dream.
Dude, I'm gonna be. I definitely will, as long as I'm not dead.
No, dude.
Yeah,
I know
I
60
don't
year
know.
olds.
The polyps coming for all of us, so beware. And at the end, that's what he's afraid of, because I think he sees the vault door open. He sees the trap door open.
The guarded trapdoor that was on the basement level of the city that the Great Race inhabits. Yeah, that they're guarding.
I also
the
like
different
that.
locks
That
being
What are we
encounters.
calling them? The black ones?
The Great
Yeah,
Race.
the black ones.
the
That's
polyps, not the
easy.
polyps.
Yeah, the polyps.
Nah, is that how it's referred to
Dude,
mostly?
the flying polyps. Yeah, that's
Flying polyps?
yeah.
Yeah. I think
thought
they
it
were
was more
definitely
like
real
an age
at
that
the
he
end
was
there.
talking about at the beginning. It was like it was columns back that this and this happened. And I'm like, columns? What's that?
The things
And
that make
later
the
on it's a
whistle
creature.
sound.
Like,
The whistling at the end, right?
yeah, those are the creatures
well-
that are behind him, or what he thinks are the creatures.
But I'm saying that's what they're saying the polyps are.
Yeah, and then those are the polyps. Yeah.
Yeah. Or do you guys think that they weren't there? Like he actually was in delirium? Like I think those things were definitely
Maybe it
there.
was
The
yeah,
winds,
maybe it was
the
both.
yeah.
whistling. Yeah.
Yeah, the remnants of them. They were still living underground.
That's
Just-
crazy.
just the-
But there was
just the-
foreshadowing of that I've noticed too, because the Great Race knew they were going to jump ahead to the life form, to the dominant race after the humans. So Wingate should have realized, oh, there's a reason they're not migrating in mass to us, but the race after us. So something must happen in between the dominant race of the humans and the one that the Great Race whose minds they were going to have it afterwards, that had to do maybe with these polyps or their demise, like some kind of threat that would be more difficult to overcome if they had
Yeah.
taken our bodies instead of the race afterwards.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It might be that
By the
the
way-
humans and
By the way,
it might
how
be the
can
humans and the polyps destroy each other. I don't know.
Well, the polyps are described as like not being quite material. Like, remember that conversation we had about Cthulhu and how he's like not really like real matter?
Right.
Yeah, it was like they were like formless.
These
They had
planets
some
were
kind of
described
weird
the same way.
matter or something.
Yeah, they were described the same way, where they're not quite of this dimension, I guess you could
This
say.
realm.
Yeah, and they took Wingate into craziness. I could just see him in the dark, like losing his fucking mind with these things
Ah.
messing with him. Like,
Oh no, the wars.
And apparently they're violent. Like they just want to like consume.
Everything.
I'm trying to find the line where he first opens the book to see what's inside of it, and he's like, whatever he said, like made me burst out laughing. He was like, I just went mad or something like that, or I nearly shrieked or something.
Yes.
I forget it.
I think I shrieked then, It's similar to,
Dude, I laughed
think I went
so
mad,
hard. I think I shrieked. like,
So yeah, I can't even tell you what happened,
Hey, you guys
Oh
want
my
to?
God.
But how can a metallic box still be there after millions of years, thousands of years? Sure,
Here,
millions
take a look.
is a bit hard.
They
Take a look
talk
at the
about
Discord. I posted a picture of a flying polyp, like the fan art from a polyp, and I think that's pretty accurate to how we should like kind of envision them.
Oh yeah, it kind of looks like
Mhm.
it. The black
But I was
shadowy
more like
thing.
talking about the metallic
Yeah.
box. How can
Because
it
they
be a
said they have
metallic
feet,
box?
like they walk on little feet, but they also can basically just levitate and float and control wind. Like the wind is their weapon.
Yeah. Well, Mars, if you Wingate also goes over how when he's first trekking, towards the record room type area,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah,
all
yeah, yeah.
gravelly and dusty and dirty.
Yeah, yeah.
But then he mentions how the Great Race built this super duper extra version of their normal foundation for the archives. And then once he gets to a certain part of the building, there's like not a lot of dust. There's no crumbled ceilings.
He's in
And
the
he's
old
like,
No, he
construction.
gets behind the
Yeah,
lock
he's
that he magically knows from
yeah, and
way
he's
beyond time.
referencing
Oh,
how
no, but
they basically made the structure on the archive so that it would like last for
Indestructible,
fucking
basically.
ever. Yeah, like as long as
Like
the
the
knowledge itself.
pyramids or the megastructure or those kinds of things.
I don't know. It's some kind of alien shit.
Yeah. I
Use your
get it.
use your imagination, bro.
I get it. I've heard the blame. I know.
they called it, he just describes it vaguely as a rustless metal, So I just imagine this is some kind of a,
It's
adamantium,
Gundamite.
Condom.
Gundamite.
Yeah, basically, and I like this drawing of the polyps here, That's like the thing that fall along between, behind the fridge or something, and you see it, 16 months after, and it's turned into this.
I don't know. He was always referencing this sense of like fear in his dreams, which confused me a little bit. I was like, dude, why is someone trying to call me again? I was just like, is this really that scary? Like in your dream? Like there must have been some other presence there that gave off the sense of fear potentially. Like why else would he keep saying these things? Like
he said when he was in the crypt, he says he was afraid of the huge rooms and how it felt like home and how everything was so familiar to him. This is like, how is this all possible? And that's probably the fear that he's talking about. Like it feels like home, but it isn't because it's in a completely different realm and all unknown to him. And it's like, how the fuck is this happening for like 12 years? So I think that's the fear in that, I guess, and just more psychological fear, not literal fear of like a tiger attacking you or something like that.
Yeah,
a tiger.
The tiger.
Yeah, I like
I don't
the
know. Maybe fear just came out of these polyps.
Really?
I like
fear,
the aspect
fear
of
beam.
the body horror when he looks at himself.
yeah,
And he sees what he is.
and he screams.
Yeah.
He surely
Fuck
shrieked
am
then, that was pretty messed up. Just and that is like I don't know about so much as the fear in the dream, but that was like a fear when modern and when he was in the desert and going between modern day and the same place, when he was a clone, and he's looking down and hoping that he sees his human self and not the cone
But
cell,
he
you know.
doesn't, because he was afraid what he would see, if it was still him or something else.
Yeah, but yeah, I thought that was cool, you know. It's just going between the past and the future.
Yeah,
Probably in his head, you know. I don't think this is really happening.
the echoes of the life that he spent as one of the Yith was like it was always in his mind and consciousness. Like it was just the echoes, though. It wasn't like clear image. Like he
Remember,
always,
he was there for 6 years. Like
Yeah,
once
he's
it
remembering
started
stuff.
coming back to him, and if I'm in the same place for 6 years, I probably know how to get around.
Yeah. What's hilarious is like he reads all of these books, these old books of lore, including like the Necronomicon and like several others that he named, and he
Yeah.
basically reads exactly what his dreams revealed to him. And like we get the exact same story later on when he starts dreaming in more detail, and it corroborates completely with everything that he read prior to that in all of these old books.
Yeah.
About the supernatural.
Dude,
It's
his denial was so hardcore. Like Jesus, he was thick.
Now,
There must be a reason for these dreams and why they feel like memories.
I mean,
there
look,
must.
you know,
Yeah.
imagine you're a man of learning, you know, and you're faced with something essentially to you is supernatural. You know, how would you deal with it? Like I always talk to my friends about this. If you saw even one supernatural thing in real life, how would you go about living your life? You know, I don't know about you, but I would become obsessed with it because if the door is open for, let's say it was a ghost, then as far as I know, the door is open for everything. You know?
No, you just don't fuck with them. I believe in some paranormal stuff for sure. Yeah,
I get what Ball's saying. Like I think what Ball's trying to say is like you think you're ready for a ghost after like thinking that you know what a ghost is and seeing like
But you're not.
conceptions of a ghost, but you're fucking not. Like,
yeah, and once you open that door, you know, you're never.
You don't know what's behind there.
Well, dude, that's why they say don't go use Ouija boards because you like let that shit into your life.
Bullshit, and everybody knows that. But if you really encounter something, then you don't know how to react. I mean, we can talk about snakes. I'm like, oh, snakes are normal. Yeah, I know what a snake is. Till you get to a snake and he attacks you, and like, what the fuck am I doing now? You don't know what you're up against.
Yeah,
yo, that Ouija shit can be real, Mars. You don't fucking do it, man.
No,
I'm not kidding.
Like, my mind is not able to accept it, you know. But on the other hand, I'm also not. I mean, look, even the most non-believing person still doesn't like to go out in the dark, you know.
Yeah, well, then also this stuff is on a completely different level of like devils or like ghosts or stuff. Like this is like dozens of different alien creatures into play from different galaxies. Like this is way more far-fetched than, oh yeah, I saw a ghost. Like
right.
I guess ghosts are real. You know, like this is a little bit more far-fetched than just that too.
Yeah, this goes.
I was actually trying to I was trying to think to myself like like if I myself was having these dreams, like what would my level of deniability be? And I don't know, it'd be kind of hard to like comprehend that is truth. Like you'd be trying to figure out like, well, then what does this mean? Or what have I thought all these years? Like your entire
perspective, obviously.
Yeah, your entire like basis of kind of like world as you know it is shattered now. Pretty hard to accept. And it would be hard for me to accept too.
I mean,
all the stories, obviously.
It depends on the person also, you know. Like I am not a believer in the supernatural, you know. So if I see something like that, I wouldn't be able to go back to normalcy. And I think this guy is like that, you know. He's a grounded,
like when the
boring
first
guy.
Through, like
even so, he's obsessed with figuring out something. Like he's studying for years, like going to the library.
Oh yeah, the pull is always there. Like he never lets it go, but he denies it along the way.
Yeah. But he went with it. It was like it gave him a purpose, at least.
Yeah.
Some purpose.
You know, he took college classes and stuff like that. He lived a normal life for like 20 years after he woke back up. And
I think they mentioned that he was not able to remain in his job for long.
Yeah.
You know?
Because he lost track.
I could imagine that, you know, it's like, how do you go back? Exactly like what I was saying, you know, how do you go back to normalcy? I don't know that you could.
Well, he was an economics professor, and since he was out of the game for 6 years, he fell out of like how economics was evolving and growing. So he became a psychology professor after
Yo,
taking more and more classes to become
real
a
quick though.
psychology professor.
Hi, Josh. I missed you. When we talk sometime.
Nice. Hey, Josh.
Yes. I just, I mean, there's so many cool aspects to the story. There's so many ideas that he introduces,
Josh.
and the time that he's introducing
It's
them.
been a long
I
time.
always mention, how he's able to come up with this stuff. And one of the I wrote down some interesting stuff. That one of the things was that when they were, I think they were trying to communicate with other races, and they would make machines like that would replicate how they would talk. I don't know if you remember this, Emerald. So I imagine like they physically couldn't speak like some of the beings. So they made machines to kind of like a human keyboard. Then
Yeah, there was stuff about how like they made accommodations for them.
There were ways so that
be
they
able
could
to
communicate
adapt.
with each other, whether they could speak or not.
Yeah, like before they could learn the claw clicking language, they had machines that would translate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought that was crazy. That blew my mind. Like,
What?
that was insane.
Yeah, so just imagine, I don't know if you ever seen like a Chinese typewriter. It's covered with like, hundreds of characters. So just imagine one like that for human language, You have like a key for V, and a key
Dude,
for...
now I'm just thinking of the Chinese men that live forever and follow the cult.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and imagine that just an offhanded comment, And there's the list here that Emerald was reading out. Each one of those guys could have a story of their own, each crazy thing, a being at the core of some trans-Plutonian planet, 6 million years hence, or some kind of a crazy thing like that, Each
Well,
one of these things.
it also, I thought it was all very, very interesting. But it also made me start thinking, like, what's the level of sentience these things need for the great race to have wanted to transfer them? You know what I mean? Like, could they do the same for an animal? Or is there some kind of rule? And then they had to be at least some sort of on the level of sentience of humanity, because
they gotta be somewhere.
because Wingate talks about communicating with them, and if they can communicate back, we're obviously on some kind of like same level there of awareness, and you know what I mean? You guys know what I'm getting at? Like, are these things similar to how humans think, or could they just be another species of creature?
I mean, I guess for the first time when Peasky gets into an alien body, he just sees the city. He sees no other life forms. He sees nothing. He just explores what he sees. And then later on in the mist, vaguely after time and time and time, he sees eventually the aliens, and he sees eventually what it is. So he had to get accustomed to his body and to his sight of what he saw. And I guess it's the same for the alien. They had to accustom to that body to see humans and how they operate and how they work, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I perceived it.
I think as soon as he was in the body, he knew what was going on. It was more like you're thinking of more how he gradually remembered the memories. But I think that once you're in the alien, because there was something about how once you're in the alien body, they don't let you out of solitary confinement or like some kind of confinement.
Yeah. It was some kind of prison.
Until you've
like
come to
one
grips
room.
with what's going on.
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about at all.
Oh, what were you talking about?
I'm talking about what the level of sentience of the other creatures that are being migrated to the great race time. Like, obviously, they're not just like on the level of animals, or are they? That's what I'm asking.
Something that could that could be
probably
useful
higher
to them,
than
because I guess
No, I don't think they were swapping minds with anything that couldn't like speak a language.
Or like build stuff. Some of these things in some of the locations, like that moon near Pluto, like what's living out there building stuff? How is that possible? Like, maybe that's just a part of the trippiness of like the scope, but I was kind of like, what kind of brain power could a creature that formed in this area of the universe like?
No, I think it was sentient enough. I mean, remember, it's about it is about the greater yet moving forward, but it's also about bringing that mind back to grill them. So I think there's two benefits to it.
Yeah. Do you think the Great Race, they must be able to like scope it out somehow when they travel through time and space? Maybe they're like traveling through the universe too.
Inseinen, I found what you're talking about. A half-plastic denizen of the hollow interior of an unknown trans-Plutonian planet 18 million years into the future.
Dude, yeah, I was like, what?
18 million.
You
That's
think,
like, we're talking Blam
half
at that
of it
point.
you can't even understand, and half is like how and why.
Like, I imagine Blam takes
Yeah.
place 18 million years in the future or something like that.
You know what? Maybe I was just thinking too hard
maybe in the
about that,
future.
but
Maybe
it
not.
just got me thinking. It was
No,
just a
I-
thought.
But it is compatible enough though. Imagine that there's only one race that they can't project into. You know, so I think they just it's like, you know, we might as well, you know, collect this guy. It doesn't necessarily have to be for 5 years. You know.
Well, it
But
also
it's-
got me thinking, like, what if we made some sort of contraption that allowed some kind of signal from animals to be able to like translate into words for us? And then we actually like once we find the medium, we could like literally like talk to animals and they totally understand. Like, yeah, let's
I guess
go.
I don't think it won't be really intelligent. I think it just be simple things like food or hungry or
Haven't you
pain
seen
or something
animals?
like
Animals in animated movies, personification. They give these animals personalities, and like you
that.
still
it's
fucking
animated
relate to
shit, they
them.
can think of that.
there was a great pirate
Sure,
that they
yeah,
put
of
a
course.
lot of woods, and I think it could have actually. It wasn't just pirating the woods, if you know what I mean. It was actually saying the words, it seems, with some sort of understanding. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. And also the gorillas that do sign language and even lie, you know. So that just shows that, like, I think that once the gorilla pulled
there's
a
difference
stink
between
out of the wall and threw it away, and the gorilla signed that it was the pet kitten that did it, you know. So
I mean, there's a difference between certain types of animals, like cats or gorillas. I mean, gorillas.
Well, yo,
can do
is there
more than-
anything we need cleared up? Did anyone need to like discuss something that they were unclear about,
Not
or
really.
they thought could have been like perceived a different way?
I mean,
there was
what can I
one thing I
remember?
thought was cool was he mentions that he was able to talk with other humans, and that there were like bits of human history that nobody even dreamt about. I thought that was so cool, you know.
Yeah,
So
that
imagine
was crazy.
Imagine there's entire civilizations of humans, not crazy monsters, but humans that people never came across. You know, I thought that was a cool idea, and also like I was thinking about, you know, you mentioned that the reason why we can't find remnants of the cities all over is that they were concentrated in like one place, right? Relatively
Remnants of the what?
of like, why can't we find remnants of the Yith cities all over the globe? We only seem to find them in a few places. Now they mentioned that most of them were on the sea in the far future. They were
Are we talking about real life?
No, I mean in the book. In
the book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
I know where his ball's going with
There are a few places. There were at least in Australia.
Right. So
I
at
think
least one.
it was so tumultuous.
Why in Australia, though?
150 years. Remember, he
I
said
don't know,
that,
man. The scope of the land they had stuff seemed pretty far. He talked about flying through the air to different cities and
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. How did he
And
went
going through
from
jungles.
Yeah, but how did he went from his confinement to other cities and cities? He
got more
mystery
freedoms.
cities and other things.
It seemed like the longer he was there, the more freedoms he got because he
Right.
understood why he was there. After a
He
while,
also thought about that.
after a while, he's probably like, you know what? This is pretty freaking cool. They
Make-
say they're
make
going to send
the
me
best of it.
back. Might as well have fun while I'm here.
You
Yeah,
know?
I'd have fun if it was me.
One of them, you know, he
why not?
mentioned he was on a submarine cruise, you know.
Yep.
You're crazy. Yeah, people pay good money for this, and he's getting it for free from aliens in the past.
Yeah, from free alien cruise.
And also there's a couple there's just a lot of the words that he uses, you know, to describe like sickly areas, you know, like he describes the moon as fungoid, you know, and the leprous light that
the leprous light.
I thought that was so cool. You know, it's like this is like a scene that somebody could describe as, you know, beautiful or something. You know, the pale light. No, it is. his moon is fungoid and leprous, you know.
Yeah, I really love looking up words all the time when I'm reading.
I even have a few here that I didn't look up, you know. Is
That was slightly, I'm like slightly lying and slightly I like it because I'm learning. My vocabulary is expanding, but
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, ugh.
Dude,
Like
you guys
it
know,
ruins the flow.
you know how he described the hieroglyphics as curvilinear?
Yeah.
I used curvilinear at work the other day and it was perfect.
What does it mean?
It just means curved lines and stuff like that. Like,
Oh,
Yeah, but how'd you use it
literally.
at work?
I work in like a place that does machining where like parts are made in machines and stuff
Yeah,
like
see?
that. So
Oh.
we are able to look smarter in on daily life from Lovecraft, you know.
that's what I said in the first podcast. Is like we're gonna pick up
Mm.
this vocabulary. Like it's gonna stick with you, and you're gonna be able to use it.
What is that?
Oh,
Mm.
There's a random line that I like. He mentioned somebody who none of whose records survive. I just thought that was interesting that you know it just shows that you know not everything in the past is able to survive. And I look at some other podcasts where they say that it is possible, even if remote, that there were previous civilizations on Earth, but because of the movement of Earth's crust and how stuff gets, you know, it goes back into the Earth essentially and comes back out in another place. It's totally white, you know. So I was thinking, if you really wanted to think about it closely, you know, these most of these entire cities were just wiped from the face of the Earth by just, you know, the motion of the Earth over 150 million years.
And I was gonna say that earlier. Is he says that the location that's in Australia,
yeah, it's just like
it was-
decomposition.
it was above land 150 million years ago, and it showed watermarks, which meant that exact landmass had tectonically shifted underwater
I
and risen
remember.
back out through tectonic motions of time. And that's the reason the cities are hard to find, is because they've just the 150 million years
Being
ago.
submerged for so long and then they came back.
Yeah, the tectonic plates were
But
totally
now
different.
underground, literally. But by the way, where are the lizard people from? From what story? Or just added in
Volusia.
there?
Volusia
Volusia.
is it's the setting of Call Exile of Atlantis, and Volusia takes place 100,000 years ago in the past.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Wait, so does Lovecraft's universe like go to other writers sometimes?
Yes.
Yeah,
Damn.
because he's friends with them or he knows them.
Well, yeah, they kind of play off of each other's work, and yeah, we've talked about that.
And weirdly, I don't
Yes.
think he was super protective. He was actually encouraging, right? I think they were saying that, Emerald.
Yeah, absolutely. They had fun with it. They knew what they were doing.
So Lovecraft was writing open source fiction. You know, anybody could just grab a thing and put it in there or that thing. Oh, one thing I like was there were actually like rules and situations as to how you could go forward in time. Like sometimes one of the
Yeah, I
the
liked
figure
all the
was-
rules that went along with
that was
stuff.
cool, you know. Imagine going
Yeah.
forward and stealing somebody else's life, you know, and just sending that person, and that person just walking around, you know, this yes preacher, and then all of a sudden, like they're friggin' incapacitated in you know a big conical bed, you know, and like well the people the beings there they often couldn't do anything, so they just try to make that person as comfortable as possible, while this person just fled ahead in time, you know.
Is it?
And,
I'm like finishing up a podcast. Give me like 5-10 minutes.
And he's in the dark also.
All right.
Don't you need a light, mate?
What?
You're
Sorry?
all in the dark. You just have the screen and that's it.
Dude, well, when I started the podcast, the
We don't even have faces.
it was
light
light,
was
I know.
light was like coming through the blinds, and then the sun went down, and I was just too lazy to get up and turn the light on. Plus,
okay.
it's like,
We're
you
not
know.
even showing our faces. You can be in the dark.
yeah, dude,
Yeah.
I can see.
Here,
enough.
this is a cool little line from the Shadow Kingdom, which takes place in Volusia, where the Snake Men, where it's where is that line? Watchwords for uncounted centuries ago, those were the watchwords for the men who battled with the grisly beings of the Elder Universe, vanquishing a planet of frightful terrors. So basically, the story of Kull takes place 100,000 years ago, and in that story, he's referencing that men were fighting the horrors of the Eldritch universe many centuries ago. So they're both working off of these crazy timelines.
It's cool.
Yeah, you
Well,
need
yo,
to
I'm
read
excited.
this multiple times to get this for like years.
Dude, no, I think we'll just Mars, I think if we had read more, we would have just had
No,
connected
I
more
mean this
dots.
story, just reading it over and over, just like Blaine, to get every little detail and to get the plot and the theories and all the references you need. Then just one time read, and then you basically don't even know the half of it.
Yeah.
Like
And,
me.
and I think Ball mentioned earlier that they mentioned Nyarlathotep, the one crazy Egyptian
Yeah.
pharaoh who was actually
Mm.
like a god of some kind or another, posing as a pharaoh.
Was
And
that
that was
his?
in the 14th
that
dynasty.
That reminded me of Apocalypse, who was the mutant. He was a mutant that was alive during the times of the pyramids. I think it was. I wonder if he was inspired by this guy. Now come to think of it, So
Maybe.
basically,
That sounds familiar. I kind of know what you're talking about, Ball. Not like a lot, but I've heard that Apocalypse, and that sounds familiar.
yeah. I thought there's so many people that are probably inspired by him, and only by going through this stuff. Later on, you'll see it.
Yo, Mars, I think aren't you just listening to it audio?
Yeah, I listened to the audiobook, yeah.
Yeah, you might pick up more information if you were to read.
It is a little different.
Just saying. Yeah, because like
Yeah, I know.
dude, when
Getting the
if I'm
books
listening to
short,
something,
no, yeah.
my ADHD
I mean, I
is
guess,
too crazy.
but
I don't think I'd be able to like get a lot out of listening the whole thing.
I mean, yeah, but I don't have money to buy the books, so I don't have the books, so I had to go to the audiobooks to do it.
I
You could probably find it online, like the
I could send
writing.
the PDF for-
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
know
it was-
Ball's got it.
There-
Aliu, if we could communicate with all animals, yeah, that'd be crazy. People might stop eating animals. Well, I guess people already do. There's already vegetarians.
Well, cows and chickens and all
Yeah.
that they just communicate through body language. They just watch what each other are doing. It's the herd mentality, like sheep do that. They just follow each other, and if like somebody gets spooked, they all get spooked. It's more like just really simplistic stuff. I don't think
So
they
you're saying, so you're saying if we have enough cows or sheep, it will be like a hive mind. They'll have
Yeah.
intelligence. The entire.
I'd like to talk to some smarter animals. I'd like to talk to a wolf, to be honest.
Dude, we have dogs.
They're not the same.
They're pretty close.
Yeah, they're pretty close. I mean, I love dogs.
Close.
I want to talk to a wolf, like a full blood. Give me that full blood, bro.
Yeah. Ali, you also mentioned bonobos, and there's that one famous bonobo named Kanzi, and he was the famous sign language bonobo who was really smart and lived in captivity. And like there's Coco.
What's a
Coco the
bonobo?
gorilla. It's like it's like a chimpanzee, but it's a totally different like mentality. They're not like chimpanzees. They're much more gentle, I guess you could say.
Bonobo.
Oh, and by the way,
like that
even if
name.
I had the books, I would still need to read it a couple of times to get all the references and whatnot. So
I know, Mars. I'm just saying, if you read it instead of listened to it, you'd probably pick up.
Okay.
And then Joshua just mentioned cephalopods, and I think in Lovecraft
Josh,
universe,
back from the dead.
Cephalopods are pretty much a product of the Cthulhu coming down from space.
Oh wow!
Which
Josh, you'll have to get back on here and talk about some Lovecraft.
Yeah,
with us, man.
Get your lazy ass out of here and do it.
It's very trippy, like horrifying. It's interesting. Like it's the first book I've actually read in I don't even know how long. I'm like actually reading a book.
Yeah, is a lot of people say that
Mars, you haven't read an actual book in a long time.
Well, he's listening to them, right?
Well, like half a year or a year. Like the last one was I'm a Legend, which was kind of depressing, but good stuff.
Oh, okay. That's a classic.
Mm-hmm. Indeed it is.
Oh, Mars.
From PewDiePie.
Not to like get too far again, but did you happen to notice that whenever they went on the Australia expedition, they mentioned a character from the Mountains of Madness who's with them on the expedition?
Yeah. I recognize him from there.
Yeah, Dr. Dyer.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
That
yeah,
guy
yeah, yeah, yeah. He was from there.
Easter
Yeah,
egg.
yeah, I kind of remember that.
Yeah. So
All right.
Dyer, who who literally
No,
like
Oh,
saw
we're
some.
talking about Mountain of Madness next week.
All right, I got
Don't
it.
do this
Yeah.
to me.
I know we'll do it. We'll
Yeah.
touch on all that shit next
oh,
time.
by the way,
We've been going
don't-
for a good time anyway. And yeah.
the-
What's up,
the-
Paul?
these cone beings, don't forget, they mention specifically the system of government is fascistic socialism. You know, these
Oh,
are
I did notice
socialist-
that. Yeah.
Socialist
I don't
cones.
even remember.
But they were able to do it right. They were smart about the allocation of resources.
Well, I mean, you know, it would take the honesty, I suppose. I don't want to be sympathizing with them too much, you know.
Yeah. But did you also see the part where, like, if somebody committed a crime, that they looked into it very, very deeply to try to understand the motivations of the criminal?
Yeah,
that
very
was
rarely would they just kill him
that
off.
was interesting, you know. I thought they'd pull out the same electro gun and have at it one time, you know. It seems like the most dire crime that was mentioned was the stealing of bodies, because that was like a huge deal. Because you know you can't just have somebody stealing somebody's life.
Well, yeah, they're all bitching and complaining about that when they know they're going to travel en masse to a completely different race and screw all
Right.
of them.
If it's another race, it's okay.
They're going to like send all those
You
people
know?
to their deaths.
Yeah, just imagine the nightmarish experience. I was thinking about it of some being just walking along and then waking up, you know, just before dying. It's like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm dead. You know,
Well, yo,
that's
like-
friggin' messed up.
one last thing I want to talk about. Were there any like big clues or hints of why the Great Race was going to migrate? Like what the threat was that they weren't going to be able to overcome or
The
that they didn't
flying
want to be
polyps.
around for?
The flying polyps.
They already beat the flying polyps.
No, they didn't beat them. They forced them underground, but they said that while they were underground over the thousands and thousands of years since they put them there, they were growing in power and number. And they eventually broke out, and I think that's the disaster that they knew was coming.
And then there should technically be another disaster in between the humans and the next dominant race that would have gotten rid of them.
Dude, the beetle people.
Right? Are you serious? Is that a thing?
Yeah, they say that in the book, that the race that the great race of Yith overtakes is the race that comes after humans are gone, and they're like a super evolved beetle people.
Oh, and I guess we just assume the beetle people beat the polyps.
They just said that by that time they're gone. I mean, they're almost gone by the time that humans are.
Maybe they just left the planet. I guess
I think
that could
so.
have happened.
Yeah.
But if the Great Race was around when they tried to do that, it wouldn't have gone so well. Who knows? Maybe they had a vendetta against the Great Race for locking them up.
Yeah, there's another alien race from another story called the Meebo or the Migo, and they are on Earth in larger numbers, and eventually they all just leave. And there's only a few left at a certain point.
Or
I mean,
anything else people want to add?
Um,
It's about that time.
I mean, I got something. I mean, it's like when he goes back to the alien body, it's like he sees like a sliver of like a Doom universe, like a Dune universe. Just all these kinds of races are like fighting each other and surviving and trying to get resources and weapons and whatnot. It's like a sliver of a way bigger universe. But yeah, it spans over multiple stories, obviously. But it's something like that, I imagine it. It's like in Dune, we see the whole of the universe just and all these races take it all, and then we just see in one story there's just all these parties just play out in like a sliver of memories and dreams. It's like, yeah, there's way more to tell, but you will never get to the rest in a nutshell.
I got one more thing. Inseinen, you mentioned that you liked the original Conan the Barbarian movie, right?
I haven't seen it.
Oh shit! I thought I remembered you saying that. Well, never mind.
What? Nah,
No,
it's funny though because
the
I'm
comics.
a giant Schwarzenegger fan, especially
Okay.
his like '80s movies. I don't know
Yeah, you
why I
should
never
watch
watched
that.
Conan though. I should, yeah,
But you know how Conan's always saying like his god is named Crom.
sure.
Yeah, like the one of the last people that Nathaniel mentions that he spoke to on the Great Race time period is Crom Ya, a Sumerian chieftain of 15,000 BC.
Oh shit!
Yes,
That's cool.
and Crom.
Is that
Conan,
when the Conan stories take place?
Conan takes place in 10,000 BC. So it's
Oh, okay.
5,000 years prior to
that's
that.
cool.
And Conan is a Sumerian, so a Sumerian chieftain from 5,000 years before Conan existed. That's who
Yeah.
Crom is.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
what-
really cool.
One little thing, another guy he was talking to in that same part was a magician from 16,000 AD. I like that after all this time, magicians come back into favor, you know? It's like
Yeah,
a future
like-
magician.
The magic
You know?
never goes away.
It comes back. It reminded me of, weirdly enough,
Oh, yeah.
Adventure Time, you know, where like somebody described it as well, you know, the bombs have dropped. And, you know, after a long period of time, magic has returned to the world. And
Yeah.
that's kind of how I imagine this 16,000 AD. You know, we have atomic wars. People go back into medieval times and rediscover some kind of a thing. I don't know. I'm sure maybe he was thinking about all that. I don't know.
Yeah, they rediscover the Eldritch magics and the truths and all that stuff.
Yeah. You know, there's just so many, I don't know, like similar to Blam and like how Maz mentioned, I think a lot of these things would benefit from revisiting later on sometime.
Oh yeah, and they won't take for freaking ever to read. Because I can just tell. Like I've read a couple of them more than once now, and my second read through is just like it flows so much better.
Right, with the
It takes me a while to read these. Like I try to like I have to pay very close attention. They're so dense, and I'm just like I don't want to miss anything, even though it's inevitable. But still, I'm like I try. It takes a while.
Yeah.
the second reading especially helps because you have the pre-knowledge, you know. This is where it's
Oh
going.
yeah, I'm sure
And then
this.
you're
Yeah, I'm
seeing-
sure it goes so much better. That's
Yeah,
with
yeah.
anything. That's like manga too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
yeah,
have eyes.
Blam and all the other stuff.
Dude,
that's a bit
Mars, I've been
more-
itching to read. I've been itching to read Blam again though. I
I'll
fucking
read it.
love it. I love it
You
so
wanna
much.
read it again?
I'll read it again.
I'm not
with you.
talking about it on the podcast, but like just myself. Like,
Yeah. I mean, hell, yeah, it's better than Colson anyway. But
dude, we could just do a Blam episode where we just talk anything and everything.
for the
Blam.
theories, a theory
com-
episode on Blam.
Okay,
Just completely unstructured talking about Blam episode. Like,
let's do a Blam
who gives-
anniversary episode. It's like when
Anniversary.
Well, wouldn't you, Emerald?
Oh,
wouldn't you
why
want to be
not?
there? Because you were never there for them.
Yeah,
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I
One
want
episode. Hell yeah.
to participate so I can throw down some ideas, but I want to reread Blam like you're talking about so I can get it fresh in my head. And
I feel like it's such a quick read, dude.
Yeah.
Fly.
I
through
mean,
Blam
if you
now.
read it
It's-
like 100 times, then maybe.
Yeah, I
it's
guess.
worth reading, but-
Yeah.
You mentioned somebody used to mix up all the female characters in Blam. And I think I do that too, you know. I think I mix up characters, and there's so few of them, you know. And then sometimes he draws them differently.
Many people think that Mori in the afterlife is Shibo when she wakes up again, but yeah, that's that's also a problem with many readers, or like other bodies, or like names, or
And he kind of draws them different, you know, in different panels sometimes. Like a lot of times there's
I think it just evolves over time. Like I think it's consistent with the part of the story he's doing it in. Because if you look at Kiri, he looks like Kiri in like volume.
yeah, his
Probably-
art
probably like
evolves a lot
6.
over the volumes.
Yeah, probably Kiri in volume 6 onward looks pretty different from Kiri volume 1.
Yeah, his hair is all just one thing, and not like individual hairs. What they did a lot in the 90s.
Dude, Nihei's art in general, I feel like after around volume 3 or 4, it just turns into like a masterpiece. Every panel, I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
well, I thought it was
It gets
hilarious.
so
in my
good.
opinion, the whole thing is like that, but
It's hilarious
I
in
mean,
volume 2.
some pages are like just pencil and not inked in for some reason, but still it really works for some atmosphere and how the world is. I don't know why he did it, but who knows?
Yeah, I definitely think so. That's part of why I think that any adaptation should be drawn, because I mean the manga is drawn and that's part of it. You know, the sketchy feeling. I don't know if that's something that people will ever do, but
All right.
But yeah, we should do
Well,
a blame episode.
Now we'll do a Blam episode. But
Yay.
Long time from now, maybe.
yeah, or not. We
Cool.
can do it in a couple weeks. I want to do a Gundam
Yeah, why
episode
not?
too. We'll talk about all that in Discord. But all All right, yo. Next week we're doing, or the next show. I don't know when it'll be.
It's
'cause
Mountains of
it'll-
Madness.
Yeah, it'll be at the Mountains of Madness. It's kind of long. It'll be
okay.
It's
30
shorter than
pages
this.
longer than Shadow at a Time, which was already my longest. So it'll
Whoa.
probably take,
Yeah.
dude, a while. At least 5 hours. At least. Probably a lot more than
Yeah.
that, to be honest. Now that I
Ball,
think about
did
it.
you already read it, or have you read it yet?
I've read it, but not in recent times. Similar to this, you know, I reread it for this episode.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna
Okay.
start on it tomorrow. Like,
I
don't have
only
much
read
to
the
do.
manga, so
I'll probably,
yeah.
yeah. We'll figure it out though. Anyway, thanks. Anyone else have anything they want to add real quickly?
No, that's good. I mean, we could have gone into more details, but like we covered exactly what the story was really about, just in our own way.
I only
That's
may,
true. If
I
you guys
only
want to talk about it more, you can, and I can just exit myself, and you
Yeah,
guys
just-
can
I
close it down
mean-
when you want.
I
Because
think
I just have some things I, have to do.
what do the trapdoors look like? Are it just giant gates for the elder beings that are just locked up? I mean, pretty sure there are, but
Yeah, you
Oh, the
guys do your
trap-
thing.
The trapdoors are gigantic. I think they're like massive. Like
Make the decision to end the broadcast, Mars. I think you can do that whenever you want.
I'm okay to end. We're
All
good.
right, peace out, guys.
Okay, have a good one.
He's gone. Later, guys.
Oh no, I fucking took Mars out. I meant to take myself out. Oh, but he left now. Okay. I told him we would stay. Oh, whatever. Yo, what's up, Ball?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right.
I'm still here.
Yeah, I thought.
They took out the
Dude.
other guy.
Oh man. Yeah, I accidentally took you out, Mars, and I was trying to take my out. I don't know.
Before.
I made it pretty clear that I just had to go, and you guys could keep talking.
I don't know. It's always with these kinds of podcasting. You just keep talking about other shit or like a Blame episode, and like, oh, Blame, I need to talk more. Yes. Yeah.
Well, okay. I don't know how long it'll take him to come back, but I gotta go.
Ah,
All right, so I'll see you guys next time.
Okay, next time.
Yeah. Oh wait,
Bye-bye.
fucking Emerald's here. Jesus.
It's
What is it?
back.
Emerald.
Lord
What's
is
wrong?
Savior. is
Yeah.
back.
Keep.
Whoops.
What? Yo, relax. All right, I'm leaving. All right, you guys do your thing.
All right, later.
Bye.
All right, so we're still talking.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's just so much, but I'm not sure if I have. Well, one line I had liked was he mentions he was falling through sentient darkness. You know, that is another little touch that I thought it was
Finally,
cool.
the
You know?
fucker's gone.
You say that about everybody.
Jesus.
So you said falling through sentient darkness.
Yeah, that was it's just a kind of a throwaway line. It doesn't. I don't think it refers to much. You know, he's just talking about his experience. Dream madness and memory merge wildly together. You know, there was a hideous fall through incalculable leagues of viscous sentient darkness. You know, just a lot of a cool phrase. Just the idea of sentient darkness I thought was cool. You know, but he's not really referring to anything there. You know, he just have like these lines I think he just throws out every now and then. But yeah. But you know, I'm not sure I have anything in particular to but I sure upon a reread again I'll see something.
Yeah,
I mean,
I immersed myself in this one, man. Like I focused on it all week, so I really
I mean, especially the end really immersed when he goes underground and you see his whole experience with him, or when he went back to his other world. But other details, I just couldn't really remember them because it's just so much stuff, one after the other, and if you just do it in one go, then you're not really gonna get everything. It's well, like we said, it's like Blame or any other of his work, so it's kind of difficult to get all of it, obviously. So, yeah, but it was a good read. I mean, it's a lot of goddamn fantasy and work he put into that, and research to get it all together. It's
I forgot to mention this earlier too. He wrote this one in 1935, and he died in 1937. So this was one of the last long stories.
fuck. You said that this was his last stories, and he had to just edit out a lot of the lore to make it more flow. You said it in Discord.
Yes. Did
Um,
I said that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, someone said it. A few
I might have
comics
been
about it.
mentioning there might have been a different story I was talking about where he never got the opportunity to make it more flowy because it never got published.
Okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, I thought that was this story, but hey, I mean, it. Yeah, I mean, it's with lots of our authors that have that same problem that just made, like Kafka, for instance. Kafka finished his last work. Also not. He just left, and she said, and we never know what she said or what the rest of the story was. It just ended there. But that was published after his death when he died of some illness. I don't know what it was. It was pretty hefty. I mean, I have the whole thing, and I still need to read the whole thing. I still have lots of books I need to read, but never have read.
Okay.
I take it you don't like to read digitally, because I could always send you the files. Most of the stuff is public domain by now. In any case,
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's probably easy to get, obviously, but I mean, yeah, digitally is obviously easier to get, but you have to stare at the screen, all the lights, and blah 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 blah. And paper just doesn't do that with you. You can just blaze through and have none of that issue, as
yeah, for
well,
sure.
except if you're really tired or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've been reading way more manga than books, so I'm just not accustomed. I just read them way too fast to get really into it. So it needs to read way slower just to get into it. It's just like, yeah, it's like a rhythm you get into it with that.
And by the time we do the next episode, let me say, looking back at Shadow of Time again, I think the rest of the manga will be out. I don't think all of it is out as yet.
No, it's not.
Yeah. I mean, I
and,
hope one day of the rest of the stories are going to be translated in English. I mean, when I went to Germany, all the parts were already there, like all the other stories. I'm like, for fuck's sake, if I could do German, I would have already bought all of those because they're literally the same quality too. So,
But the market in Germany is smaller. I can't believe they wouldn't just try to do it in America already because Lovecraft was American.
I mean, I guess they can get
yeah,
shit easier. Just I don't know why. I mean, in France it's pretty big too, though. Well, not too, but it's also pretty big. When I went there, it's like everything is like manga because they're already accustomed to comics and whatnot, what they made in their own country. So yeah, and in Germany, I don't know why the fuck they can get Mushishi and other stuff so easily. They can get all the rare stuff just like it's nothing. And here we're like, I don't know, like 20 years later, yeah, we still don't have it. Like, for fuck's sake, I just don't want to pay $500 for like one volume or some shit like that. I'm like, I just want to have the stuff.
Yeah, I did a lot of research trying to figure out if Dark Horse Publishing had any intention of releasing more of the Lovecraft comics by Go Tanabe, and like, there's nothing. There's no anticipation. There's no reports. Nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing.
hell?
It's just
I find that so weird because this is not like some unknown guy.
no. I mean, even 100 years after, people still talk about him. So he's a big deal.
I mean, even a lot of people talking about bad aspects of him. Okay, but the work I think is still it's so influential that anybody making an adaptation, especially of this quality, they should be excited about it. I don't know. It's where sometimes.
But I guess that I can kind of guess why they don't, because most of it is just generated at kids, like moe stuff, isekais, cute stuff, because the market has changed so much that it's more like for kids and whatnot. If you go back to the 90s, 80s, that's more like for our age. For
Or
instance.
Mars,
Because,
if you remember, Cat in a Hot Girl's Dorm is getting published in America, but
I don't know what that is, but
yeah, I mean, there was those rare instances where they actually do publish stuff.
dude, it's so stupid. Like you said, it's just like it's like the horny stuff is getting published, but like
yeah.
the good shit's not.
But back in the day, it just Japan was so much in a bubble that it just can just publish anything they wanted because nobody in the West would even read it. So nobody would complain, so you can just make whatever. And nowadays, like the West is reading it, most kids are coming in, and so majority gets censored, or majority just try to get some new work that's actually interesting and full of all the shit that kids don't want to read. I mean, just try. I mean, if you go back to Dorado, that's like one of the few examples that actually does gore, does naked stuff, does all that stuff. When you go to the anime, it's all censored. The gore is censored, nipples are censored, everything is censored. I'm like, why make it if the source material isn't like that? All those kids are going to go to the manga and like, what the fuck is all this shit?
Yeah.
Why? I want to
They
go
stopped
back. Let me go
censoring.
back.
They
Is-
stopped
is-
censoring and all that in the manga, at least in America manga.
Mm,
it's,
at least.
it's ironic that they censoring it when the people that buying it are the ones that would want it uncensored. Like, who are they?
Exactly.
Who are they trying to please?
It took them a long time to
I
figure
don't
that
know
out.
either. It's so pointless. I mean, I know for Blade of the Immortal, like the 2019 one, everything was uncensored because they had just this warning from Warning. This is for 17 plus and up. I'm like, yeah, great idea. Just do that with every other anime that does gory stuff or whatnot. It's a way better idea than just censor all of it if the source material isn't like that. I mean, it's like the Blade movie being all cutesy and mainstream, and then you go to the source material and it's like totally not that. It's like, but it's this bullshit. It's not. It's so pointless to do all of that. Just all this energy and work and animators that get paid next to nothing. I'm like, why? What's the point? And the 3D wasn't even that great. So I'm like, it's so. Yeah. So it's like the dick in their own grave at this point. Just they don't know what to do anymore. So just to please the children, they just do fucking anything to get anything sold, even if it is it for that age. It's such a shame. And even Blade of the Immortal didn't get a whole adaptation. It's just it skipped like a 200 chapters of like the last story just to get one season out on like Amazon Prime. So as an ONA, so nobody even knew majority that it even existed. So I'm like, yeah, we have fallen. I mean, it was a good season. It was by a good director that did like Steins Gate and all these other shows that you might have heard about. It does the more experimental and gory stuff, but yeah, I can go rant about this for hours. So.
But is that it? Was that something that had it had a partial adaptation, is what you say?
Yeah, basically, I mean, it was with a good director that had, bijvoorbeeld for Ninja Scroll, he did Ninja Scroll, he did all kinds of interesting stuff. Even in Memories, it had some parts into it. So yeah, it was some kind of passion project, but they just really skimmed out of that, and it's just. And it was good, and it was good stuff too. Really experimental, good art style, good things. Maybe a bit choppy, but yeah, that's what you get if it's just not popular anymore. If it was done in '90s, oh man, we get so much stuff out of that. That yeah, those days are long gone. So we just can't get that anymore back. Maybe if anime is dying out, we're just getting OVAs like Moe OVAs, and that's it. And the whole industry is just dead because they just fuck themselves over in the end. I mean,
I don't
I'm
think it's
pretty
dying
sure.
out. I mean, the market's pretty huge right now. It's just a matter of like how much of it is good.
Yeah. Just too
Um,
many series are putting out per season.
I also think that as more and more younger people come up and they embrace like newer technology, they will find more efficient ways of doing more. At least that is what I hope, because I mean, like I do animation here in Trinidad, and as you can imagine, there's not a lot of people doing it. So I kind of have to come up with ways to, to make things more efficient. Like
Mhm.
I know a lot of people
Like
still
this.
do stuff on paper, but if you do it digitally, yes, you do lose something by doing it digitally, but you gain the efficiency of having it already on the computer, ready for the next step, painting or cleanup. And the scanning is like a hassle. You had to make sure the black levels are good.
Oh no,
and
he's
that's
back.
Oh my god! Wait a minute.
What's up,
Wait, what are you
What's
doing back
up?
here?
Yeah,
I
get the
just-
fuck out.
dude? These people were like, this person was blowing up my phone. They just really needed to talk. I talked to them for a little bit on the phone. I told them I'd call them back after the podcast, but it was just dragging on. I was like,
A friend of yours?
yeah. I knew it was
Ah.
going to be a quick conversation. He just really needed to have. So I was like, I just got to go. But now I'm back, chilling. No rush.
Yeah.
Okay,
Crack-
we've been
crack
talking
my
about
whip.
anime and how the industry is dying and how all the good stuff is censored out and not getting
What are you talking
published.
about?
and Anime
are you talking
getting
about?
fucked over.
Why?
Like the
Since
gory
when?
stuff getting fucked over.
I don't think so.
Well, I
If,
think
if,
it
if
was-
there's gory things to adapt, there's just not a lot of hardcore
Yeah,
shit
they're
out
gory
there.
things to adapt, but
Dude,
who's gonna adapt it?
Let's look at
Or not censored.
Chainsaw Man's anime. I bet that'll be pretty fucking awesome.
You probably will.
That's gonna
Bro,
be brutal as shit. And like, I haven't read JJK, but I know people like the anime. Is the
JJK?
anime not bloody? Jujutsu Kaisen. It's like
Ah,
very popular,
that's
super popular right now. I just haven't read it.
Yeah.
Do you guys know what I'm
I
talking
mean, I
about?
know.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, I think so.
What is
That's,
that boxing? What is that highly fucked up boxing anime again? It's on Netflix too. Fuck, what is it again? Was also
with the
in
robotic
19
boxers, the enhanced boxers.
Baki.
Baki, bingo, Baki. Yeah, that's a
Baki.
really that's an
There you go.
highly
Baki's
gory
pretty
show,
brutal.
but
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Dude.
highly brutal. But it's like it's so little stuff that's coming out with really brutal stuff, or that's not censored to death at this point.
What is
and
what's
blood,
censored? What are they
well, the
censoring?
nipples, the gore,
In
the
what?
blood. You go on and on. I mean, I have multiple titles I've seen that just censor shit out.
Well,
like
fucking
Door
name
Door
one.
or Grandpa. Hmm?
Name one. Name one thing you think has been
Danganronpa is
censored.
being censored. Door's being censored.
Is
what's been
Dorohedoro
censored?
being censored? I remember the anime
Yep.
being pretty bloody.
You mean
Oh,
when
I
you
remember
say-
it pretty censored.
Well, they didn't do as
read
good of a
it. I
job.
mean, we have both
Yes.
read the manga, so
Yeah, obviously, it's hard to put that art. It's hard to animate that.
yeah,
that
yeah,
artwork is
yeah.
like
Obviously, that's why
dirty,
they
dark,
do it in 3D.
grungy, bloody.
Yeah, Mars
But-
knows how I feel about that. I bitched pretty hard about Doro being a CGI stylized anime, despite the fact that the art was so grungy on paper.
They did the
I
same
mean-
thing for the Berserk sequels. Fuck those up.
Exactly.
But that's just
And blam.
the wrong directors doing the wrong
Yeah.
shit. It's like a director that's only done cute
Well, it's how
stuff and then suddenly doing horror. Yeah, that doesn't fucking work, obviously.
It's how they
That-
save
that
money.
fucked it. Yeah,
I
that's
wasn't-
it.
I wasn't a big fan of the animation in Dorohedoro, but I enjoyed the show for what it was.
Yeah,
No,
it was
I did too.
fun, but it just
It honestly made me read. It made me read the manga. Like I watched the show and I was like, "This looks incredibly interesting." Then I realized it only
I
covered
mean, yeah, it's
all
an
bits,
interesting
and I read it.
concept altogether, obviously, but they're also kind of censoring a lot of shit. It's like
No, hold on.
like-
When you say censoring, you mean that they're
I
not
mean, the
adapting
nudity is
parts
being
of the manga?
censored. Lots of the gore is being kind of censored, and other things are being censored. And then mostly
There's no
when I
tits?
went
No,
into
no tits
the
in the anime?
subreddit or the Discord, many said, like many of the kids said, like, "Oh no, I just skipped all the gore stuff and all the nudity." I'm like, "Yeah, it's not for you. Why the fuck are you reading even the manga if you just skipping all this stuff?" Yeah, the anime didn't really do it for you, obviously. If you just saw that and then thought like, "Oh no, it's all good, handy and dandy," and then just went to the manga like, "Well, fuck me, I can't read this." Majority of it, I'm like, yeah, no shit.
Mars. Not everyone
Yeah.
likes fucked up shit like we do.
I know, but then
Also,
that's why
on
you
this-
don't censor fucked up shit, so people think the source material
don't-
is not fucked up because it's
I
like the
don't think
manga.
there's. I don't think they're censoring shit that bad. To be honest,
Uh,
Yeah.
Now, I still not clear though. When you say censoring, you mean they're literally blurring it out, or you mean they're just not adapting?
They're not adapting the
Right. Okay. So no.
explicit
They just
part.
don't see it. It's not like light
Okay.
beams. They're just not
Honestly, if they
letting you see it. They just
exclude
cover it up with body parts or just
number one,
blacking out some stuff.
the female bodies in Dorohedoro are not exactly the ones I'd always like. I'd be desperately to see naked. Number
Right.
one. Number two,
No.
if-
Some are really
if
fucked up.
they-
I know.
if they exclude a nipple for the sake of making a wider audience more appropriate, I'm okay with that. Like it's a nipple. Like it.
Yeah.
Like, you-
If
you
it's
can
just
read the
one
manga if you
one
want.
body part, then it wouldn't be a problem. But if you do the rest, I'm like, yeah. They also did it with like early versions of
I don't know.
Psychopaths. That like the censored version was like mostly black bars just all over the place.
What?
I'm like, what's the
I've
point
never
of that?
seen this censored version. I love Psychopaths.
Yeah,
shit's- Definitely not censored.
yeah, I've seen the censored version. It was like black bars all over the damn place. Or like more raunchy stuff like To Love Her was like, you know those light beams like back in the day that did over everything, like there's light coming from the windows, or are they even wearing windows or some shit like that? It's like, what are you even doing it? And
I feel like I've seen
it
that
doesn't
before.
ruin the whole thing, obviously. It's just like, yeah. Or
I think you're complaining for no reason. I think it's a blanket
blanket
statement.
complaining for no reason.
I think there's just less good shit out there, dude. I think
Yeah,
you're like,
that's also true. That's also true.
and
That's also
it's
part of
for
that.
younger audiences. Like
Yep.
it was different in the '90s when they were putting out these
Yeah.
brutally-
Just before you
brutally
were
graphic
before you were
OVAs.
here, already said all of that. So yeah.
Well, there's your
that's really true.
reason. There's your answer, dude.
Yeah, it has changed. I know it has changed, but then there's less for us to watch.
It's just
you need to
sad.
wait.
Yeah, you're right. It's fucking sad. Like I haven't watched seasonal anime in so long because there's nothing like mature on there anymore. It's
Well,
just
there's
annoying.
one.
I just
there's
watch
one-
old stuff.
There's one good
Yeah.
show this season that's out right now, and it's deceptively mature. It's it looks
Yeah,
very
tell me.
childish, but like when you get into it, there's some really freaky shit that goes on.
And that
It's
is
it's called Osamu Ranking, which Osamu means king.
You know,
Uh,
I
Oh
thought
yeah, that's
one
like
thing-
that's at the top of the seasonals right now.
Yeah, bro, it's good.
Is it really? I might
Yeah,
check
like
it
I
out
said.
then.
Like I said, it's deceptively childish
Mm.
looking, but like it gets really weird.
Yo, Emerald, you know what that
Right.
reminds me of? That description, Made in Abyss.
Yeah,
I don't
Made in
know-
Abyss is that's not for
This can
everybody.
be gory,
That's
yeah.
not for
Dude,
everybody
I'm not
either,
gonna
but
lie. I find
it's
Made in
very good.
Abyss made me uncomfortable a couple times where I was
Oh, yeah.
like, I don't know.
Many times.
With all the
Many
child
times.
stuff being murdered.
Is that
Dude,
setting
in the
and
fucking
like,
oh yeah, it's
amazing.
absolutely gorgeous and
The
it's,
setting is
it's beautifully
fantastic.
horrific. And honestly, I'll probably watch the further things because I've watched all the seasons and that movie that was the follow up. There's this one joke in the movie about the little girl talking about the old man's erection, and I was just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the
don't
writer is not
Fucking-
really. Yeah, and I know what Ball was saying. It's like it looks deceptively childish, but it's also
It is-
got some shit.
It's
Yeah,
brutal. I would say the first season is beautiful. Like, there's not too much weird stuff in it, and even that is only
Man,
one
I
weird
mean-
thing in the movie I didn't like.
There-
Like,
there's
it doesn't let me not enjoy it. But
the stuff that frightens me the most is the body horror, the weird transformations. That sort of stuff is messed
You're
up.
talking
It's like freaking Alien, you know?
Talking about Bone Druid with Bone Druid Laboratory.
Oh god, that's just messed up.
Dude,
God,
yeah. Thinking about it right now even gives me kind of like that queasy feeling.
and not just that.
I mean,
the
I get the queasy feeling from When They Cry, when you see the girl just stabbing her own head into a knife at the wall or something like shit like that. I'm like, oh boy.
I can't even remember what scene you're talking about.
It's just that gif that you see over and over and over again. It's like, I haven't even seen the show, but I know it's like,
It's really
oh
it-
boy.
the
It
most
starts out
bizarre
cute
thing.
and then, yeah, fuck me.
Yeah, the most bizarre thing in Made in Abyss was when Bone Druid essentially genetically engineers
Oh
like
God.
the kids, and they're still
Oh yeah,
alive.
into
Like
packets to just
into the
use as
backpacks, man.
fuel and to go back into abyss and
Jesus
to
Christ.
experiment with them. Yeah, I
And
know.
what's bizarre is like they're still alive inside of those
Oh,
cases, but
God.
like we already know. We already know.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
that's
enough
pretty
already.
fucked up.
Phew,
I saw the
God.
movie on that. I was like, oh boy.
Man,
That was
even manga, I read the manga long before the adaptation was out, and Jesus Christ,
Dude, yeah.
the guy knows how to do it. He knows how to do it. I think body horror is something that I both love and hate. Well, you understand what I mean. And
Yo,
it's just
Ball, if you
Mhm.
like body horror, you need to read Frank and Fran. You can find scan. You can
yeah,
find
Frank and
scan.
Fran.
Yeah, you can find good scans online.
Oh yeah, it's
Also,
weird.
I think Ito is really good at body horror. I
Well,
fucking
I've read
love Ito's stories, dude. We need to talk about like a story of his sometime.
Junji
I
Ito,
really like
yeah.
him.
I mean, it's the most well-known horror author of like the modern age. I mean, there was a lot more out there, obviously, but never
Dude,
translated.
he's well
because-
known for a reason.
Yeah.
Like,
I know. I've literally almost all.
I'm not
of
gonna
it,
say
so
all of his
I
shit's
know.
that great. His stuff's like hit or miss for me. Like, I either love it or I'm just like, this was dumb.
I feel like that is kind of how horror is. You kind of just had you had a swing fit.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. How it like what you find scary or whatever.
and some of them are very very short. That's another cool thing.
Oh
And
yeah, some of them
the
are
way
only the
how
one chapter.
yeah, and the way that how it ends is like, it doesn't need like further explanation. The ending is like kind of the big, shocking.
They're terrible endings. They're not happy, and you have no idea. Like you don't get answered anything. They're just they just end like not in a good way.
I think that's why they work. Some of the shorter ones they work
No,
because they don't
I
go
love
into,
that. Dude,
like
my
that.
favorite long one is actually Tomei.
Tell me
my-
the first one. Yeah, that's a good story.
I love
I
Tomei.
think my favorite is the one with the spirals. Is it Uzumaki or?
Uzumaki, yeah.
They're gonna
Yeah.
make a cartoon about it on what was it again? You're gonna make a cartoon on
Talking about Adult Swim.
Adult
They're gonna
Swim.
put it
Yeah,
on
they're
there,
gonna make a black and white one. That seems pretty good. I mean,
Dude,
better
it's-
than the anime of short stories they did a few years back. That wasn't that great, except 1 or 2 episodes.
I
or
don't know.
something.
We'll see, man.
Hmm.
I feel like it's
I
hard to like
mean,
make.
Hard to adapt.
Yeah, kinda. Because his
nowadays for sure.
Ito's characters are so unique. They're just like I don't
I mean,
know
yeah, they make-
how I'd feel
they
watching
make-
them animated.
He makes the most beautiful characters, but they're so beautiful. There's something wrong with them. They have to be fucked up in some way, shape, or form each time.
I've seen in real life. That's just how it is.
Oh yeah,
the-
Mars. A
Mhm.
good anime in the last few years that I really enjoyed was ID Invaded. I don't know if any of you guys have heard about it.
I've seen it.
Kind of got some like
yeah.
cyberpunk sci-fi things to it. It's a detective story, but like with super high technology. But that one's pretty bloody and dark.
Yeah, that's why you should watch the new Blade Immortal 2019 version. Man, that's
Oh my
pretty
god,
good. Why?
I might. I love the manga so much. I don't know.
Yeah,
how,
but it
I'm gonna be
does
so
a great
jaded.
job on the artwork and the experimentation and the gore and all the stuff. But just one season, and some things get skipped at the end. But you get an end. But
How was the
that's just
ending?
fun with that.
How was the final the Manji fight? Well, does anyone care if we spoil? I don't want to spoil.
Not
the
really.
ending.
Yeah,
Uh,
the ending was
No,
pretty
no,
good.
you need
but
to read it.
yeah,
Oh my
I need
Okay,
to buy
whatever,
the
fuck it.
rest for sure.
Does he take the arm of the big guy?
Yeah,
and put it on
He
his?
takes the arm
Well,
of the Dutch guy, and he even
I would-
speak Dutch in the anime.
I would fucking love to see that animated. When I read that, I was just like, "Oh my god, dude!"
Yeah,
it blew
you
my
see that, you
mind.
see
And then
that.
he- oh
You see
my
all of this
gosh,
shit.
that
Pretty
is
good.
such a cool part. All right, I'll at least watch that part for sure.
Probably can
Oh,
find it on
it's
YouTube.
so
But
cool.
you need to read
It's so
watch
cool,
the rest. It's
dude.
great. It's like you need to get used to the opening, but it's because it's in all English, but made by Japanese, so it's English. But you get used to it, and it really flows with the show. So I mean, the attacks are a bit choppy, but overall good shit. I mean, it's the same author that did Steins Gate and all the gory stuff from the Earth of the Towers, basically. So yeah, and
You
this
know,
press
Mar-
needs
Mar-
to get out. Hmm?
I was gonna say you're right, Mars. There's
Me?
less adult, mature stuff
Me.
nowadays. It's unfortunate,
Mhm.
but I mean, it's just about money, man. Like
Um,
the market's more geared towards
I know it's an
younger audiences.
industry.
But,
I
like,
know they need to make money, so they need to cater to some audience. I mean, yeah, obviously. I mean, look at Nie. He even changed to more a childish story than just less.
that's true. Yeah,
I mean, there's still dark themes in it, but yeah, even he changed.
I'm trying to think of who's
But
writing
yeah, he
really
was
good,
also
mature
just kind of
work right
sick of
now.
doing all the dark stuff for like 10 years. So.
I
Hmm?
I think he was trying to evolve into something else, for his own benefit too.
Well, everyone was
Because
complaining to him about how no one understands what he's talking about.
Yeah, so he made
Nihei,
cause as
Nihei was
understandable as it should be.
I mean, I
like
heard
hit-
That's
that
how it could be.
even the Wachowski brothers, sisters now, I guess they
the fucking Wachowski
Careful,
sisters. How
But
crazy is that?
they drew a little bit of inspiration from the very earliest chapters of Blam because they
Really?
found that's what I heard.
what?
That
I,
totally makes sense. They look like they're dressed like Matrix characters. The
what's the
Silicon Life guys.
no? Hold on. The Matrix characters are dressed like Blam characters.
Yes.
I
That's
mean,
now that we know the timeline, because I didn't know that. I didn't know it went back that far that they would have been able to get scans of it or however they saw it.
I want to try to corroborate that, Ball. I want to try to find if that's true. I don't know where I first heard that.
Well, when was the first chapter?
I know that
1997.
Blame was inspired later on by the Matrix, but
If
Yeah,
it's 1997, then it's too coincidental. It has to be because I definitely get that.
Yeah, dude.
If 1997, they wouldn't have even had scans online. What would they have had? They would have had to have gone to Japan and seen it on a rack. Now I know that.
yeah, when
They were on AIM. AIM.
Oh shit!
Messaging the pictures. I don't know if you could have done that with AIM.
I mean, the earliest forms I found were like from 2002, so that's how
Exactly.
they got it from back in the day. But for the rest, yeah, and they just read the manga in Japan, and then it got to the West, and then it got out in 2003 in Tokyo Pop, and then that's how we got the rest of it, basically through.
And I know the urban legend is that they went in and showed them Ghost in the Shell and said, "Look, we want to make this live action," essentially. But they never mentioned Blam. That might have been a bit too niche for them to put into that whole,
Ball. Maybe
maybe
that's
was pretty niche. It had fan base, but
it could
maybe
just
that's
not
not
be
possible.
true. Yeah, it could just not be true.
I'm not finding anything about that. It doesn't
Well,
look.
if it's a good idea.
I believe it though. I believe it because you look at the Raxa humans. What is that? I don't think that they could have come up with that themselves. Look, let me be frank. I don't think they could have come up with some of the stuff visually. I think they gave some of these guys, look at this book, go through this, and we're gonna make this. And I've seen it before, didn't they? There's a short story called, I think, The Long Tomorrow by Mobius. And
Mobius.
Yeah.
Mobius.
And he basically invented cyberpunk in a short comic. Almost not true. I wouldn't say throwaway, but almost. I mean, if you look at that is the Bible that they probably use for Blade Runner. Definitely. What was that one done by Luc Besson? Fifth Element.
Hey, I think I might have found what I was thinking of. It looks like 1995 Japanese cyberpunk film Ghost in the Shell, which had a strong influence on the Matrix series. So I guess Ghost in the Shell is what it was, not Blam.
Right, but
Makes more
now that you
sense.
mention Blam though, because that wasn't the only anime. That is legend has it that is the anime that they showed the money people to get the funds to make it.
Okay.
But I don't think that was the only thing that they personally were inspired by. You know,
I'm sure
Because
But
it
Matrix,
also like back in the day,
Matrix
there
had
was
so
also a
many
legend that
inspirations. Freaking Blade Runner.
yeah.
but also
So I
like
don't.
a legend back in the day that the maker of Dora was an assistant Q for NEA, but that was just a dumb rumor that someone made up on the site in the 2000s. Because in an interview, she said, or he, we don't know who it is, that he was never a assistant of NEA, but people still kept thinking it, still kept talking about it like it was the
Yeah, it's
author.
because it says it on Mal.
Yeah,
It says it on my
and
anime
all
list. That's why
kinds of
people
different.
fucking believe it. Anyway, dude,
Yeah.
Mars, I've been trying to think about good seinen writers. There aren't really that many right now. I'm trying to think
No,
because
new? No.
even the dude who did Chainsaw Man, who he did Fire Punch, which I think is way more like seinen-y, I guess.
I haven't read either, honestly.
Dude, you need to read both. I
I
like
mean,
Fire Punch a little bit more, but they're both fucking
maybe.
awesome. And now he's
I
probably
mean,
going to continue with Chainsaw Man too. Hopefully, he gets more insanity because I think he'll like get older.
yeah.
That'd be dope. But Kentaro Miura just died, so
Yeah.
Berserk, one of the
Yeah,
greatest
that's what you
ongoing
get if you.
sanens.
Yeah, that's the
Like
problem if
that's not
you
going to be
make.
made anymore.
Yeah, that's a problem if you make a series way too detailed and does that for 30 years with hiatus. It's a
Yeah,
big
but
chance to the guy
I don't
just.
want to. Yeah, I mean, we don't need to talk
look,
about that. I'm talking about the
Yeah.
shortage of seinen material coming out in the near
Yeah.
future.
Okay.
Which
I
means
mean, yeah.
less will be
I mean,
adapted into more adult anime.
Yeah. I mean, you have still like Flowers of Evil, right? I mean, that's one of the last authors right now that does still.
Oshimi? Yeah, but
Yeah,
even
Oshimi,
that's not that mature. And like I honestly I
I
don't know.
mean,
I
it's one
thought
of
Flowers of Evil was
the
okay.
last ones I can really think of it right now that does shit like that, or like from Monster, or
Even who
like
did Goodnight Pum
uh,
Pum? What's that
yeah,
dude's name?
Inoue,
No, Inoue did Vagabond, which is also he cut short. He just gave up.
yeah.
He gave up on
Uh,
Real. He gave up on Vagabond. Like he gave
no,
up.
no. Real is back again. They're still he's back at publishing that, so might get into that.
Maybe. I don't know. The
And
dude who did
obviously
Blade of the
you're
Immortals
getting
continuing with Die Work Elder, which is pretty adult and very mature. But that's coming out very slowly.
yeah.
Samura, yeah.
Or like stuff from back in the day, like the Drifting Classroom, they're getting still more stories out of that. Or what they're still getting at? Some
I'm
physical
saying it's
stuff.
looking bleak, man. Hopefully the
Yeah,
guy
I
who
know,
wrote
man.
Ajin, hopefully the guy who wrote Ajin puts out another good dark tale. Ajin was sick.
Yeah.
We need to read Ajin, Mars. Seriously, it is so good. The
Yeah, I
antagonist
know.
is
I saw
one
the
of the
anime. I
best
mean,
characters I've ever seen. No, the anime is completely different. When
yeah,
did you
I
start
know.
becoming this
It's like a lot
person
of 3D,
that
but the
only watches
animation.
stuff and only listens to
Yeah.
audiobooks instead of reading? When the fuck did this happen?
I'm still reading, man, but also watching anime. Also a lot of that, but the action scenes in that were pretty smooth for like what they did with it. So that was pretty good. But it's also been a while since I saw that, or stuff like number 5 on Tiayo Matsumoto is pretty mature, I think, and pretty stylish. So that's also pretty good, and it also gets republished right now. That's also really gorgeous art, and also lots of action and all kinds of crazy shit. That's also pretty good to read.
Yeah, guys, I can't think of any modern seinen that I can really.
That's any good? Yeah, me
That's
either.
that's coming out, dude.
I'm even having a hard time bringing up like ones that I read in the past.
I mean,
No,
I can
I
get
would
a
say
list.
Blade of the Immortal, all of Nihei's early stuff is very seinen,
That's the
I'd
good
say.
shit.
Berserk.
Vagabond.
I'm just like looking around my shelves.
Man,
I guess you could
All
say
you need
Battle
is
Angel
skill.
Alita. I think Battle Angel Alita is kind of seinen-y, but I mean,
I
I
should
could see
read
younger
Oh,
boys
wait.
enjoying it too.
Something new? Maybe read Rukia. This is from Eldo Yosu.
Are you talking about the boxer, Rikudo?
No. R Y R what? No. It's from Hard Case Crime. It's like this Yakuza girl that just goes through this whole story just to get
Have you read
revenge
it?
on her mother. It's like Eldo Yoshimizu. Yeah. Eldo Yoshimizu. It's like 2 volumes of it out right now. And there's another one that's coming out and one that's even been made. That's really recent. That's really full of gore and really good art. Like he started out as just a artist for characters, and now he's just making manga. That's like the recent stuff that I've been reading. But yeah, for recent stuff, it's pretty difficult.
Wolfsmund came out in the last decade. It was actually written by one of Miura's older assistants. I think it's a female though. Anyway, it's super fucked up and brutal. It takes
Wait,
place in like
what was that
medieval
one?
times. It's called Wolfsmund. Hold on.
Okay, so this one is historical.
Yeah,
What
Wolfsmund.
branded?
Yeah, it's super cool. I'm pretty sure the person who wrote it, it's a female. He used to work under Miura.
All right.
Oh, this might be good. I see it now. It's pretty cool looking.
It's very cool. It's very historical, bloody action. There's a little bit of like supernatural sprinkled in, but only like the tiniest bit. It's mostly very grounded in
Yeah.
reality.
Insane.
What?
Yeah.
No,
Look at the
I like
project here to put up the title.
just the idea that somebody is, was the protege of this guy, drawing something is something to take a look at. Just by that virtue.
Oh yeah, I mean the artwork isn't anywhere near. I wouldn't say it's good because of its artwork. Put it that way. I mean, I really like the artwork, but it's mostly that's not one of its better qualities, I'd say.
Okay, I think I seen somebody's jaw, bottom jaw, flying in one direction here. So,
Yes, dude.
which is good, I'm not saying that in a negative way. It's interesting.
Oh my god, the guy who like governs the pass that people try to get in between countries while the revolution's rising up is the most sadistic, brutal mofo. Oh man, I don't want to like spoil anything, but that is a good seinen one that's happened like in the last decade, I think. It's only like 8 volumes too. Like it's not terribly long. I'm trying to think.
Or like Mother Sarah was really good back in the day, but that's also another reason.
I guess Dorohedoro, but we already like talked about that. Hellsing, that's not even that new anymore.
Rukuyo.
When was Claymore finished? I remember that went on for a long time.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Maybe in the last decade. Probably, yeah, probably happened somewhere in the 2010s.
That finished way back in 2014. Yeah, but it went from 2001 to 2014.
Oh wow, yeah.
That's a hell of a run.
Claymore was interesting. I don't know. I started falling off at the end for me a little bit, but
it hinted at a wider world, but they never explored it. Which I think is
fucking Gans.
Gans,
dude. Gans.
Yeah, we know you love Gans. We know.
Dude, Gans is so awesome.
I know.
Hey, Inseinen, what's your favorite Gans arc? What's your favorite arc?
No.
Oh my god, for sure the one with the three like badass demon guys.
The Osaka arc, right?
I think so, yeah, where they meet the team from Osaka. They go to Osaka and see those other guys. Only because God, the amount of brutal shit that goes down in that arc is like
Yeah.
insane, man.
Yeah. Do you remember like the
Insane,
early
yeah.
one where they're fighting the Buddha statues at the temple?
Oh my God. Yeah, that one's good too because I
Yeah.
don't want to spoil anything for these people.
Yeah,
Guys,
I
Gantz
haven't.
will fucking blow your mind. Like, read Gantz.
Is there anything that I know
Yes.
about that you could draw any parallel to? It's totally.
Jesus. There's
Uh,
so many different concepts in it. Like, you'll see dinosaurs, you'll see aliens, you'll see supernatural
everything and
creatures.
anything is in there.
You'll have no idea what the fuck is going on. You'll see vampires that like
Oh, right there.
maybe don't show back up for a while. And maybe what?
I
There's just
mean,
vampires there.
Giant is
Like,
also pretty weird. It's from the same author. That's also
dude,
just a porn star that gets gigantic and fights aliens and whatnot. It's
Mars, what
awesome.
is your excuse for not have reading Gantz by now, though? Like, you want some good mature
Hell
shit?
no,
Like,
I'm reading other manga, like Creature, for instance. That's also highly gory, and
Oh,
weird to fuck though.
Emerald,
I think
we'll have a
that's
show. We'll
insane.
talk about Gantz. We find some Gantz fans for sure,
Yeah.
dude.
I'll get up on it. Don't worry. Actually, to tell you the truth, before pretty recently, like let's say a year, I haven't. I never really read manga. You know, only now I see it. They upload it online in good quality because you can't really get them here. You know, is prohibitively expensive to import them.
Oh, dude, I read scans only for like years. They're pretty good. Yeah, like you said, it's like not that hard to find manga.
And you know why? What inspired me to start reading it was the ending of Berserk, the original 1990s cartoon. Remember how that ended?
Did that make you read Berserk?
Yeah.
Dude, me too. That Berserk was the first manga I ever read. Because after I saw the 90s anime, I was just like, oh my God, I gotta know what happens next.
You know, it's like, you know, how do you end on this and not continue? You know, and it was a long gap between them, but I always
the
thought of
movies
it.
too, except the 2017, 2016, and well, they failed with that. The only plus point you can get that as it just went on with the rest of the story, but that's it. Or maybe try Oni Wakamaru. There's also highly detailed art and lots of gore with demons and whatnot. Also really interesting.
What is
Did you guys read Hell's Paradise?
no.
Hell's Paradise? Oh,
No.
that's new. Okay.
Have you guys read I Am a Hero?
Ooh,
Yes, I have read that.
That's
I
a
have
good
not
one.
read that one.
That's a
is.
good
Is
saying.
it worth reading? I hear
yes,
so many
it is.
terrible things about
It's-
the ending that it's put me off from reading it.
Honestly, I don't know the
Nah,
ending.
read
I
it.
haven't
It's
finished
pretty
it,
great.
I mean,
but I read a lot of it.
if the journey is enjoyable, is the ending really that big a deal though? That is something I think about.
Not
I
really.
think
It's more about the journey than the ending, really.
Well, it is when I think they're back into print, but for a while they were very expensive and hard to find. So that's why I
I
didn't
Am a
want to like
Hero?
get it. Yeah.
Okay.
I think they're coming back into print though. I think Dark Horse will
Like-
bring it back out. The artwork is fucking awesome.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah,
The
and it gets
horror artwork
crazy
is
with all
great.
the things.
Definitely.
It's not
Like-
your normal story.
I might have to read that Emerald. I think I don't have an
Like
excuse much longer.
Greasy ass, also
Ball-
pretty psychological.
Paul, do you
and
know what it is?
crazy.
no, I have no idea about it.
It takes place in Japan and there's a zombie outbreak. It's zombies essentially.
Okay, that is
Like,
interesting.
it's like Dawn of the Dead.
There was a Korean was there a Korean show where it was something like a zombie? It was a zombie outbreak, but essentially in ancient
No, that sounds cool.
Korea. Isn't
no,
it? I feel like it's called.
it's
Yeah,
like
show
a
me a zombie
movie.
movie.
What was it again?
No, it's a
Zombie
series.
movie with swords.
Yeah, Kingdom. It's just called
Kingdom.
Kingdom, a South
It's a
Korean
diff-
TV series.
Kingdom.
Walking
Yeah,
Dead
dude.
movie?
Damn.
Talking about the
Yeah.
manga?
Well, I'm familiar with the TV series. A friend told me to let's check it out.
Yeah, it's an ongoing. I think it's manga. It might be manhwa. Could be wrong, but yeah, dude. I hear great
Right.
things about Kingdom. I haven't checked it out though.
Well, they're spending a lot of money on this series. Let me tell you, because I looking at it. Well, I didn't really know much about Korean TV. I know about Korean movies, you know, Old Boy, but I never looked much into their series. But they're spending a boatload of money on this thing, you know. So if you want to check out the adaptation, I think that this is a good one. 'Cause,
Yeah,
Or
you're probably right.
Inuyashiki. It's also pretty good.
What is that one?
Grandpa that turns into a machine and just
Oh,
goes around.
so you want to talk about Inuyashiki, but you won't read Gantz?
I don't really,
Emerald, they're from the
like I
same.
said, I read
They're
many
both
other
from
manga.
Hiroya. They're both from Hiroya Oku. He did.
Gotcha.
I know.
He did Inuyashiki after he did Gantz. So
Okay.
yeah, you would probably like it if you liked Gantz. Like that one is also very fucked up.
Okay.
Definitely.
is there any like you mentioned looking only at old stuff Inseinen. You should definitely check out Now and Then Here and There. It's a short series.
Yeah, the anime, right?
I have the anime on my list.
Is much darker than I thought. I saw some things in it that was like, this is, imagine, and you know, Miyazaki generally doesn't touch a lot of dark stuff. Maybe Mononoke is probably the darkest thing, and even in that, the violence isn't, you know, or the horror.
I would say if you're talking about Miyazaki, the Nausicaa Valley of the Wind, but the manga, not the movie. Like the manga is very dark. It made me cry. It's
okay,
like,
I really
Oh my
want to check
god,
that out.
dude, Emerald! I'm literally to like support my computer. I get the Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind.
dude,
Which
mine are
time?
I'm literally touching mine right now. They're on the bookshelf next to my
Oh
computer.
no, the touch.
Dude, it's such an underrated story. I'd be down to talk about Nausicaa of the Valley. The artwork is so freaking. I can't even imagine how long.
We're
it
getting
took
back to manga,
Miyazaki.
isn't it?
I know he was going through a Mobius phase at that point. I think
It's so good. Like, and I love the movie, but I think the manga is way better because it tells the whole story.
Dude, the manga is massively longer. It's so much longer of a story. Like,
And it doesn't look like it'd be a lot. Like I think page wise, it's not that big, but it takes a while to read. Like
dude, the panels are so tiny. Like he fits so much into little space.
I felt like I was reading a book.
Yeah.
Like seriously. There's only a couple other. I've only felt like I was reading book during Nausicaa of the Valley and the Wind and Death Note because Death Note is so much dialogue. Like you might as well be reading a book.
Oh yeah, and I only saw the anime, but I imagined how that would be. You know, like he's eating chips dramatically, and you know, I just imagine this must be this is unintentionally funny here. I can imagine it's similar like that in the or maybe it's intentionally funny. I feel like there was a little self-aware. You know, it's like
A little bit.
This has to be ridiculous, you know, and yeah, but you know, the guy just has to be cool at every turn, you know. He eating chips or he's killing people, you know. Cool 100%.
Yeah.
You know,
Are you gonna be ready around 6:45?
I mean, y'all should read Ultra Heaven if you're into drugs. I mean, that's also.
Wow.
which one
It's
is that?
like Ultra Heaven. It's like about a man in the far future that tries all kinds of drugs and he goes into these crazy trips in this highly detailed art. It's something else for a drugs manga.
All right, you guys had to paste some of this stuff in the chat.
Hey guys, I gotta get going.
Okay, yeah. Well, we'll talk to you later.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
All right, good talk tonight.
Yeah, have fun. Thanks, man.
Talk to you next time.
But yeah, Insane, try Ultra Heaven. Fucking
Ultra
final.
what? I know. I was waiting
Ultra
for that. I was gonna cut you off. I was like, what? No? Ultra what?
Ultra Heaven. And,
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to find
about the man
scans.
far in the future that goes.
That one never got
massive
finished though,
road
didn't it?
trips.
That one never got finished though, right? On hiatus, it says. Yeah.
No. The hiatus thing is bullshit because, like, no one is in
really?
hiatus for like 12 years and nothing mentioning it about for years. Like, it's not on hiatus anymore. It just ended like that, and that's it. There's nothing.
That's true. Yeah, like it's just that's it. That's like, all there's gonna be of it.
Well, would you guys advise somebody to start reading Berserk today, even if it never ends?
Fuck dude! Are you kidding me?
Berserk?
Exactly.
Everybody reads Berserk already, so it's not that difficult.
Yo, Ball, it does not end at a terrible spot. Like
you know what?
Where it left off when Miura passed, I felt like it was a pretty damn good spot
just
to leave it off. To be honest,
that was more of a reunion than Star Wars gave us. You know, look at that. That you have all the people.
Like you can use your imagination to figure out the rest of the story if you want. There's so much
God.
good things that happen. It's totally worth reading, even though
Or Sanctuary
We don't-
was also pretty good.
Sanctuary is fantastic. I still need to crack into mine. Anyway, Dude, yeah, they were tough to come by.
I definitely think there's a lot of good things that are never really concluded, you know, and maybe in a way, I don't know. I mean, it's sad that it's not completed, but it's also, it makes them more eternal. I don't know if that is the right word. More.
I think that's a decent word to use. Yeah, because it's up to the interpretation. And there's so much good stuff that happens in it. There's like 40 something volumes of material.
I mean, I started that and I read it through in probably like, you know, a month. Just imagine this is a life's work in a month, you know? It's just, and I don't mean that to say it's like, you know, oh, look at this small amount of work that was completed in a month, you know, but I mean, you don't just get a normal person doesn't create this, you know?
Yeah. Well, and you liked it so much that you read it that quickly. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? That's a lot.
Yeah, it's, you know, you can really see, you know, somebody's life being consumed. You know, I don't want to say anything. It was a life well spent. You know,
yeah, I don't know how the One Piece guy does it. That guy's a fucking robot.
Well, I
mean,
think
he has his own whole team now at this point. So.
I wouldn't.
But yeah, I gotta go, guys. Too. You guys can.
All right. Well,
yeah.
I guess we could end it here generally, but yeah, definitely excited for whatever happens next. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll talk in the Discord. Dan, we're at like 2 hours 16 minutes.
Yeah.
Longest one. I told you it would be too long.
Fuck it, I don't care. All right, I'll see you guys later.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Stay tuned. Happy tough.